And we live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sweaty Cast. It has been such a long time since I've been able to say that. I don't know the exact time frame of when the Sweaty Cast went on its eternal hiatus, but it is no longer hiatus. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Thursday, everybody. See, already technical difficulties are happening right here because I have not used this overlay in such a long time. But you know what? It's all part of the process. This is how we stay sweaty over here, you guys. If it was an easy stream, it would not be a fun stream. So you know what? I'm gonna do enough talking right now. You guys know who it is. You know this mug. You're with this mug almost every week on the Ask Neo show. But I want to take this time to introduce, or should I say, let me reintroduce somebody who y'all have probably not seen on camera in a very long time, but if you've been following on Twitch, he's been doing some streams on there. I want to introduce the other half of the Sweaty Cast, the Sweaty Supreme Lord that is Shut Up Gabe. Gabe, my man, how have you been,
Hello.
bro?
I've been good. It's been, man, I'm trying to think like what the last time like we talked about, and I can't even think of the day, month, or even the subject. I want to say it was either something with Justice League related or it was Gina related. It was one of the two, but yeah, that was like the last like actual like current event news we talked about.
I'm gonna take a bet, and it's probably going to be something Justice League related. Just something with Zack Snyder's Justice League. If there was ever a topic that would get us off the internet, it'd probably be something related to Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh yeah.
But I want to hear more about you, Gabe. It's been a very long time. It's been let's just assume over a year, probably a year and a half at this point.
It's definitely been over a year.
But tell the lovely people what's been up with you, man. I mean, there's been a lot of developments in the life of Gabe. I mean, there's one in the background right over there. If you want to comment on that.
There's Kylo. That's Kylo in the background, just going to town on himself. He's got no camera manners whatsoever.
Yeah, I had to go ahead because it was happening right before when we were prepping up the show. I saw that and I was happening on screen. I was like, no, Gabe, we can't have that. So I'm just gonna crop the camera. We for all the future sponsors and all the ads coming in, we just can't have full frontal nudity and pleasuring on the stream. We may be the Sweaty Cast, but even so, we got some standards, people.
There's limits.
there's levels and layers to the madness that is the sweatiness. So yeah, Gabe, I mean, it's been such a long time, my friend. But it is great to be back at it with you tonight, and we have got a lot of stuff to discuss, don't we?
Oh yeah, there's a mountain, especially after what just happened not even like an hour ago.
Yeah, literally. Like, you know what the funny thing was? So, I mean, you guys probably know this. It's definitely going to be one of our topics that we touch on probably a little later as we get more people into the show. But the Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary stream went down. And, you know, if you follow gaming like we do, you hear some rumors and rumblings in the industry. But I don't think anybody expected it to go off as hard as it did. And that I don't know about you, Gabe, but that just gave me some extra energy for the stream, man. Like, I'm so excited to talk about it.
I was screaming. Like I saw on Twitter the rumored like the guy who's been kind of like leaking stuff lately, like subtle leaks, you know, and they've been pretty accurate so far. Like he did like the Overwatch free to play announcement. He did a couple other things, but like I saw the whole like the image of Aerith and Zack, and then he had all like the different color codings on it, and I was like, what does this mean? And all I thought about today was I was like Crisis Core, like, and wasn't expecting a remake of Crisis Core. I was just thinking it's just like a remaster or like oh hey, it's gonna be playable on all these platforms with the, you know, with the updated resolution and FPS, you know, the basic remaster jizz, you know.
Right.
And then they just full blown remake for this year. Just not on my bingo card. Not on my bingo card.
not even, bro. Not even. So yeah,
No,
we'll touch a little more on the Final Fantasy VII anniversary a little later on because we want to give that its own dedicated segment. But yeah, just to reintroduce y'all to the Sweaty Cast, I guess since it's Final Fantasy themed, the Sweaty Cast Rebirth episode. That's what we're gonna title this one.
Rebirth episode.
Yeah, so Sweaty Cast is a podcast where Gabe and I get together and we talk and commentate on some various things that have been happening throughout all forms of the entertainment industry. We're still getting into the flow of how we want the show in terms of particular structure, in terms of topics, in terms of some other stuff that we do. So bear with us for the next couple of weeks. But yeah,
I know. I
what's
know I'm
up?
not supposed to read the comments, but this one is true.
Oh
Is the
no.
most true.
Oh no. Are
What
you
Frank
doing
said.
what I think you're reading?
Sorry.
Because I'm seeing that right
The
now.
Sweaty
What
Cast
is
has
it?
been gone for as long as Neo has abandoned finishing Tales of Arise.
Well, first off, there's two things wrong with that sentence. Number one, and this is probably not to my benefit, but it's been gone longer. Thank you very much, Mr. Flame. So no, you can't hand me that L. I'll give myself that L. Number two, I actually went ahead and I started playing Tales of Arise again, and I'm on the final boss, and I died, and I ran out of items, so that was a thing, and it made me switch over to another game. But regardless of that slander, shout out to the chat and everybody watching. We're not going to be commenting too much on what you guys say for the duration of the show, because we do want to go ahead and commentate on a lot of the topics. But anytime we'll need to take a break, super chat break, or the live Q&A segment, that's where we're going to go ahead and address some of the things. But so we're going to be commentating over various things happening in the video game industry, in the movie industry, comic industry. Anytime there's some interesting things happening there, we're going to speak our piece on it every single Thursday evening. I think that's a pretty good schedule for the two of us, in addition to everybody who's watching. But yeah, today's episode in particular is going to be focused primarily, since there's been a lot of gaming stuff happening, it's going to be focused on the not E3 season, if you will. And there have been a lot of events in the past three. It's crazy to think about the past 3 years since, COVID hit back in 2020. We've seen a lot of publishers do their own showcases, if you will. It kind of started to kick off back in, I want to say, well, technically speaking, Nintendo was kind of the originator of it when
whenever they pulled out of E3, right?
Yeah, they pulled out of E3. It was in like the mid 2010s, I want to say, like 20. It was definitely after the Wii U, or around the time the Wii U was really bombing. So I want to say like 2015, 16 or so. They forego doing like actual events in person, and they just did everything via the Nintendo Directs. And then I believe it was like 2-3 years later, Sony did the same. They bowed out of E3 and they decided to do their own thing with State of Play. And it prompted a lot of people to really speculate whether or not the E3 season, E3 as an event, was really relevant. And I remember there was this discussion back during COVID when everybody was at home and we saw basically the downfall of E3. Because remember, it was not just a lot of these people pulling out of E3. There was also the big, I think you remember the big media leak that happened where... everybody's information got doxxed. So that prompted a lot of journalists to just really question if they wanted to do this anymore. So it was like really dumping on E3 season all throughout 2020. And here we are 3 years later. And it's so funny because I don't really think things have gotten much better without E3.
No.
What do you honestly think about it, Gabe? Like, now we're 3 years into this, which has given people, even though it is still kind of a pandemic, there's not a lot of in-person events. How do you think the management of like video game news in June has been between Summer Game Fest, between State of Play, between the Xbox Bethesda, Nintendo Direct, Ubisoft's Forward, EA Play?
I forgot about that.
Yeah. EA Play, Devolver Digital. Like, as you can see, I'm already on two hands here talking about all the different.
They all got their own. Well, I can't even talk. They literally all got their own variety. It's too much.
Because that's the one thing that I've noticed. There's definitely a lot more showcases to check out, and while it isn't necessarily like we're watching like longer form content, because I have a feeling that a lot of the stuff they're showing in these showcases is stuff that they would have already showed at a PlayStation or at a Nintendo or at a Microsoft. It's just they just took it out and they're like, hey, here's a 7-minute sort of sizzle reel. But what do you think about that, Gabe? Because E3 is coming back next year for digital and in person. Do you think it's going to prompt a lot of these publishers to go back into the original cycle of things, or do you think E3 is just going to be one of those things that's kind of for the privileged elite? If you want to fly out in June to play video games before anybody else, you'll be able to do that. But what do you think about that, bro?
I don't know, dude. It really is like a double-edged sword if you think about it. Because with E3, it's it's like a planned event that you know so far in advance. I could tell you for me that was like my like middle of the year holiday every year E3 happened. I'd always request those 3 days off and I would just watch it every year. I would just watch every single showcase, whether good, bad. I wanted to see everything that was coming. I didn't want to miss any announcements. I want to be there for the live reactions and all that stuff. I think moving forward next year is definitely going to be experimental. I think right now with what they're doing, they're just trying to get news out altogether instead of it just being like, a YouTube video for like smaller games or like a Twitter post or, just smaller news journalist segments. Honestly, dude, it's really hard to see where it goes because like before COVID hit, they made, at least I think it was the only one, they made E3 open to the public to where you could buy tickets and go yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's always it's the convention center in Anaheim, right, or LA,
Los
something like
Angeles,
that. Los Angeles.
Anaheim was where they hosted the PlayStation experiences in the final
That's
couple
right.
years.
That's right. Because Sony hasn't gone to E3 in a minute, right? They bowed out of one of them, right?
Yeah, so 2019 was their final. No. 2018 was their final year at E3. 2019 they bowed out, and that's what prompted the discussion from some people on whether or not E3 is really relevant. Because right there you have two of the major console manufacturers gone, and then you had. And this was the weird thing because you had companies like EA who didn't have a press conference during E3 season. They had it literally a day before, which was like the weirdest thing in the world. Like they'll still have the event, but it won't be at the Los Angeles Convention Center. It will literally be offsite. And Gabe, when I went in 2018, let me tell you what offsite means from the Los Angeles Convention Center. It literally means walking 2 blocks up the street and walking 1 block right. Like that's offsite, bro. It's crazy.
Offsite. Hey, you're at the convention center technically.
Yeah, you are at the convention center, but it was so funny. It's kind of like how I don't know what the best way to describe it is. Like when somebody has like an event and then you have some person who's trying to impersonate the event and like, hey, I'm having my event the exact same day on the exact same street. Come over here. It's like, wait a minute, who are you? Like, no, don't worry about it. But that was like the weirdest thing that companies would go ahead and do something like that. Mm-hmm. Like they capitalized off E3 hype, but they just didn't say it was E3. That was so crazy.
God, dude. I don't know. It could pivot. Like it could really pivot. It could really shift into like, I don't know. It could be shifted to being more of an in-person event than it really is something live. Because I don't think the core component of you going there and testing games, I think that's a big contribution to it. Opening up to the public, that's another really big contribution to it. Even if it's people that can't really make it, a lot of locals in that area are ending up going to go to it, like regardless. I think next year it's really going to be like super, super experimental. We're going to see whether or not it's a necessity or not, but I don't think it will ever go away. Maybe like the live streams will go away, but I don't think the core component of what E3 is will like ever disappear. It probably will become a lot less relevant, especially if Sony and Nintendo, which is two big powerhouses, are out of the convention. But it could also leave room for a lot of other either companies or either like performances for, I don't know, tech demos or even like hardware demos. Like I really see it as being an experimental year on where they're going to take it all, because I mean, like I said, I don't see it ever being phased out, but I definitely do see it being something that's going to be not as needed depending on how these companies treat it, because like if Microsoft just ends up doing their own thing, then like E3 is probably just going to be like a demo valley, the live component is just going to be completely killed.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be a place you go to go try new products out, but it's really hard to say because like when you think about it, it's in the middle of the year. It's during the summer. It's a set date, and you know that lots of people are watching it just for the fact that we all know what E3 is. It's a real big convention. It's been around for so long. And then you got the people going to the actual event, and then you got us, filthy casuals just at home watching it, in our underwear. So it's always going to have that huge media play, but considering what happens next year, E3 could really just pivot into being something else by 2024. Honestly, I really look at next year as like, as far as presentation goes, that'll really give you a better image. Because right now, I couldn't really, for sure say, because like Capcom could take a whole panel, all these other companies can replace these smaller, segments that we're missing out on, but having like powerhouses like Nintendo and Sony being gone, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a little, honestly, a little spooky. I mean, I definitely think we need E3. I think it does give a better picture on either smaller titles or smaller companies. It could be even become a bigger press for these smaller developers. But as far as it being like a big streaming event, I don't know, man. I really, next year's really going to be the whole proof in the pudding, because a spade's a spade, bro. So like, if you're missing the big ones, like what's the point of the convention at all besides it becoming down to just you playing the actual games? And if you're just there just to play the actual games, the whole streaming component really kind of gets killed, because I mean, I can't play the games from here unless they allow us somehow, but it's gonna be, it really is gonna be weird. It's gonna be really, really weird, because State of Play has been very consecutive, and Xbox has been very consecutive with their shows too. So it's like, I guess at the end, it's like, how much money are they gonna save
True.
by not going to E3? And so next year, it's gonna be weird.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to touch on what you said, talking about how it's definitely more for the excitement of going there, because like I didn't truly understand the appeal of going out to things like E3 or PAX or any of those other game showcases until I actually went there myself. Like it was cool watching some of the stuff online, like the press conferences and the demos, but it's a different
Mm.
thing entirely when you actually go there and you're getting
Oh yeah.
hands-on development with games. And if you're a content creator, you're networking not only with people you've met online, but also developers, and you form friendships, all of that stuff. So in that respect, I kind of do want to see more of these showcases continue, in a real world setting rather than just do it digitally, because it's just a different energy entirely. And granted, it is something that is just in a particular time capsule, like that moment of time. You know what I'm saying? Because if the point is to sell your game, you're going to have more eyes looking at it from a video than just someone who's on the event show floor. You know what I'm saying? Like in a perfect world, you'd want those people to be part of a publication and they can speak about it, and then it goes to their audiences. But I definitely think the next 2 years are going to be very different. Like they have to change how they handle things, because I mean, it's not cheap to show up to E3
No,
as an exhibitor. It's not cheap. Like the
no.
amount of money it takes to have floor space and do all of that stuff. Like you've heard developers talk about it, and they feel, some of them feel so liberated now that they don't have to worry about doing that stuff, and they can advertise their games online, especially those that, Devolver Digital. Like Devolver Digital is just purely word of mouth, and like the
Yeah.
memes, and people love that stuff, and then it goes to their own audiences and it continues. But I want to highlight super chat here because it is topical. $5 from Christopher. Good to see you, my friend. Summer Games Fest, ONL, the Game Awards, State of Play, Xbox, Nintendo, Ubisoft, Capcom, Square, EA, Devolver, plus 100 other streams. Too many, and they all end up being mid as fuck. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that is a benefit to having a really curated show. I mean, granted, like you're never going to please everybody in all these showcases, but
No.
if you have something that is like a period in time where people are going to get excited, it kind of ups the ante, where it's like, oh, okay, if I'm PlayStation and I want to show off, games we got coming out, whether it's first party, whether it's second party collaboration, or whether it's third party. I want to get the best of the best. So I'm going to call up Capcom. I'm going to ring Square Enix. I'm going to talk to these developers and say, hey, what you got in the tuck for our showcase? Because it benefits not only Capcom and those companies, but also PlayStation. Whereas if some of these companies who, like, let's be real, if you aren't a fan of like that one individual game from said company, if you look at their showcase and it's just a whole bunch of stuff you don't really care about, some of it might be mobile games. Like, you could walk away wondering, I spent 25 minutes watching a showcase from this company just to see one game.
BlizzCon 2018 all over again.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, speaking of Blizzard, and we're going to talk about that. It's definitely something that I want to see return. I want to see more in-person showcases, because I'm going to be real, like the past 3 years or so when I haven't been able to do any of these things, and I've formed more friendships and rekindled friendships and, gotten closer to a lot of people online, it's given me that much more incentive to meet them in the real. And one of the best parts about these showcases is we can actually do that. Shout out to my homegirl, CrunkGirl711. She's in the chat showing love. We actually met up at PlayStation Experience for the first time back in 2017. It was Crunk Girl, it was Red Infamy, it was a whole bunch of people from the YouTube gaming community, and that stuff is amazing, and I live for that stuff. Like, so it's great to play the games and do all that stuff, but yeah, like, the return of PSX, I would love for like Nintendo to bring back Space World, or Xbox to do more XO events. Like, if they do more of those things, like full-on conventions, that would be amazing. But that's probably something that's gonna come later down the road. Shout out to Megas X456. Speaking of people who actually went out, he actually attended Summer Games Fest, and he got a lot of coverage with stuff. With $4.99 super chat, stopping by to show some love. That Dragon's Dogma 2 announcement got me on hard over 9,000. Yes, sir. We gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that a little later. But yeah. So speaking of Megasex, and also Chris Super Chat talking about Summer Games Fest, we might as well go into our first actual topic, since we're talking video games. Summer Game Fest 2022. Gabriel. I know you watched that stream.
I did.
I don't know about you, bro, but I think I've got to the point where I'm gonna just call these shows for what they are.
Dude, I have no expectations anymore. I really don't. Like, even I'll just put this out on the table. Even I haven't had huge expectations with E3 since probably like 2013.
Jesus Christ, honest, bro.
That
was a fire year, though. 2013.
That was a fire year. That was a really good year. But there is definitely years where you're like, they can't get any better than this. Like, just announcement wise, like it doesn't matter if like new and approved comes out, the years later, but like there can only be like so many years where like it's just all fire announcements. It's really hard to keep up, and I think part of the reason why like we're so critical of these shows too is our expectations are always really high. We're always like, and it's fair to say, I always say keep your expectations minimal, I'm still, I still want my, Wind Waker HD Switch port, but
bro, they keep toying with us with that shit, bro.
Dude, bro,
I don't know.
When they had that Nintendo reveal and I saw Link flying and I was like, collection? Like, he's giving a collection. Like, you're gonna give me like three. Just pick three Zelda games that we haven't gotten. For give me Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and Wind Waker HD. You're gonna give me the Mario treatment. That's fine. I'll simp. I'll get called to shill. Whatever. I called everybody out on the Mario shit. You can call me out on the Zelda shit. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll sell my soul. I'll sell my soul for that.
I said on my stream because I always like to clown people because some people come in, they complain about $70 games. I understand it, but if you complain about $70 games and you buy like a $60 Wii game on the Switch, I'm just like, come on now, like, yo, the pot calling the kettle black. But I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. If they put Wind Waker HD on the Switch,
yeah, no,
my morals, my ethics out the window, straight up. I'm gonna be real. Like, if you guys want to roast me for that, call me hypocrite. I'm like, yeah, because everybody has got that one game. But here's the thing though, Gabe. I would say like, yeah, everything does come down to managing expectations, but to be fair though, there have been some pretty banger years, like PlayStation, for example, that E3 2016 where they showed God of War, where they showed
Oh, dude,
Spider-Man,
that
they
was
had
the
Kojima's new
freaking
game, they had
the
the
freaking
Crash
concert. I'll
remaster.
never,
Yo, they
God, dude,
had
I'll
some
never forget
fire
that.
shit. They had some fire shit. So I think it's one of those things where you just want somebody to get a huge W, like whether
Yeah,
it's PlayStation or
absolutely.
Nintendo or Xbox. Man, I mean Xbox. One day they'll have a fire conference. One day,
I'm waiting. I'm waiting, dude. And
one
I
day.
and I think and I think with that, like with the whole idea point that I had in mind was that you do expect bangers, but you're only gonna have so many bangers every year. And that was one trend I started to notice with E3 was that if the previous year sucked, the next year was gonna be good. And that's because like whatever they're working on, whatever's hot in the oven isn't quite ready to be, pulled out and, kind of give a little taste to everybody yet. And so I noticed that some years it was just bloatware and other years
Yeah.
it was like, nasty, nasty, nasty balls on the table year,
Yes, sir.
So like when we get a lot of these like little, I don't know, events, shows, whatever you want to call them now, not E3s. I don't expect a whole lot because it's not, you go from a 3-day event from God, dude, how long, like I don't even remember what time they would start. Like for me, it would be like 9 in the morning to all the way till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. It's a full-time job.
Like a
It's a
whole day, man.
full-time, yeah, it's a full work day. It's a full work day of announcements. It's a whole showcase. Now that they're being crammed to like 30 minutes, which is fair because like, I mean, honestly, with COVID, everything really slowed down a lot.
True. Everything happened. But the thing with the Summer Games Fest, I would be so far as I'm inclined to think that because I call them for what they are now. They're just Jeff Keighley productions. Like I don't think the shows per se, whether it's the Game Awards or Summer Game Fest, they're not going to change. Like this is the format. Jeff Keighley's the type of person where if you send him an email saying, "Hey, can you highlight my game?" you're guaranteed to get a spot. So,
dude, I'm making a game right now. What are you talking about?
Straight up, man. I'll make a game on the toilet. So like
it's mobile, it's cool, it's the trend.
Straight up, man. So in that respect, watching the Summer Games Fest unfold for the past 3 years, I just look at that as okay. Jeff Keighley's gonna show us a lot of games, as in just games. Like how like when you go to the grocery store and they have those. Not Game Boys. That's the theme of the podcast.
They're
not
Game Boys. You mean those little like ones with the keychain and it's got like the super like flimsy screen and it's got 2 buttons on it?
The not Game Boys that play games.
It's
just
up and down.
It's a whole assortment of games that you've never heard of. And you're kind of questioning, maybe this will be good, maybe not. Like that's the Summer Games Fest.
Cooking Papa 3.
Yeah, exactly. Cooking Papa 3. You're like, is this legal? Is this copyright? Is it
homage?
Exactly. So with the showcases, I just come to look at it as he's just going to show us a lot of stuff ranging from different budgets and developers and genres, and that stuff is cool.
That's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah, so if you walk away from those showcases with a couple of things you like, great. My problem is his showcases are damn near 2 hours long. Like, fam, that's a movie. That's a horror movie, right?
That's a horror movie. It's an average Star Wars movie,
dude. Straight up. So I'm watching this and I'm thinking, there's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better way to handle this. And I think the solution might be, and this might be Xbox's solution as well. Instead of having one huge summer event, do it quarterly. Like. Do the spring showcase, the winter, the fall, even if it's not based off seasons. I feel like that will help things be better for the gamers because you don't have to worry about watching a 90-minute showcase and a lot of it is just there, like let's be honest, to fill the time because we don't have a whole bunch of other Megaton stuff. Because when they put the Megaton stuff, they'll put some right in the beginning and then some right at the end because that's how they get you. To stay tuned in.
They honeypot you. Yeah, they gotta keep the viewership, and I mean, obviously with YouTube and Twitch. There's ad revenue and viewing revenue and all
Yeah.
that crap. So I mean, like, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna go back to what I previously said. I just don't have expectations. Like, I get what I'm gonna get, bro. Like, I expect heat. Absolutely. It's like going to a restaurant for the first time that you never been to, and you're ordering the steak. Now, it might be a really juicy ass steak, or it might be some like chewy leather fucking backwoods fucking raccoon steak. Like,
That's very specific, Gabe. You speaking from personal experiences? Like, what's
I
going on with
mean,
this?
I went to a wedding recently,
Oh
and
boy.
I'm glad the homie. I don't know if he's watching.
Oh
Glad the
boy.
homie said something before I said something. I mean, he said it afterwards because I wasn't gonna be disrespectful. So they got catering. We got carne asada, so like just
Yeah.
chopped up like seasoned steak. You know,
Yeah.
shit was chewy as fuck. I thought I was eating a nerd's rope,
This man,
and
they had some character right there. Yeah.
and I was like, God damn! And I found out he spent like $1,600 for the catering for that. So
Whoa.
$1,600 for some, chewy, freaking Dollar General steak. And I'm like, dude, this is not good.
You
And
should have vetted that. Definitely. That's why you have
but
tasting, like you have tasting parties for wedding cakes and everything. You should have vetted
so
that.
the funny part about that was that it was a whole 9-course meal of him getting screwed over.
Oh
But,
damn! So 9
but,
different times.
He put a deposit down on it. He was supposed to get samples, and they never got samples. They showed up. They met. I think he said he met at a Circle K parking lot. Yeah, I need that 500. I need that 500 down deposit. Got the 500. Took off. Oh, we'll do samples later. Never did samples.
Oh
Wedding
my
came.
God.
There it is.
Bro, I would be so upset, yo.
I was like,
That's
I was like,
sketchy.
bro's making you the sample with the $500.
Does he also does this guy sell graphics cards out of the back of his trunk? Like that's how sketchy this sounded, bro.
Some wish cards.
Yo, exactly. You got a CTX 3090. That's what you get.
So yes, I'm speaking from experience.
Oh Jesus! But okay.
But yeah, man. Like I don't know. I just don't have expectations anymore. I don't. The things that I've always wanted and asked for never came out. So it's like I'm just here and hopeful for something good. Here and hopeful that something is, worthy of my time. And if it's not worthy of my time, there's no point in crying over spilled milk. But it's kind of at the point where I'm just like, it's just not worth the energy, man. It's not worth the rent. It's not worth the mental.
It's not worth the blood pressure. You know what? I think he's speaking.
Blood pressure.
He's speaking as a jilted Blizzard fan because I've never seen someone this beaten down before.
Dude,
I think that's what it comes down to.
BlizzCon 2018 was an embarrassment and abomination.
Yo, you gotta break that down. You gotta break that down later when we talk about Diablo.
Okay.
You gotta break that down. But okay, I want to go ahead to Pete's been sending. He sent in a super chat. Gabe, what shirt do you wear now with full screen?
Oh yeah, I got
Yeah, that's Rengoku.
the whole thing.
Rengoku?
Yeah, bro, it's my anime husband.
Yeah, straight up. You got a whole matching red fit going on there today, bro. Got the red hair, got you got everything, bro.
Yeah, I'm going bald. No, I'm just kidding. It says fucking sweaty. Keeps the sweat out.
I mean, hey, listen, it's a sweaty cast, so one of us has got to be sweaty. For me, for a change, I'm actually not that damp today.
Dude, it's 110 today, so I've been dripping all day.
Just straight drip city. You dripping with the drip.
Sweatcast IRL.
Yes, for real. It's a nice 67 degrees here in New York.
Damn.
Oh,
wouldn't know.
It's gonna go up to 90 tomorrow.
Join the Bloods.
If it's any consolation, it's okay. But yeah, so Summer Games Fest. I mean, I look at it. I'm watching that. I'm bored out of my mind. But there is one thing that I've noticed. I don't know if this is like the game industry's next kink for a couple years, but there was a lot of space horror games, bro. I don't know. You noticed that?
Yeah, no, that my attention to that was already well endowed before even like the summer Game Fest came to us. I mean, I wasn't expecting because I already knew about the I'm probably gonna butcher it, the Callisto Protocol,
Yeah, Callisto
Protocol,
Callisto.
Cal.
Callisto. He sounds like Khaleesi from Game of Thrones.
The Soul Cal Protocol, you know.
Prodigal son. The prodigal
You
son.
Fuck your guys' game name. I can't say it. But
that's not even the most like. This bro be acting like it's a freaking Square Enix game with his pronunciation. Like
I need a Dr. Seuss book, you know, one fish, two fish, you know.
Yo, Hooked on Phonics worked for me. That's all I can say. Game.
Hooked on Phonics.
Hooked on Phonics worked for me. But yeah, so we had the Callisto Protocol. Of course, you know, at the State of Play, we had the Resident Evil 4 remake. We had a whole bunch of other stuff. Like there was one game that was resurrected after 10 years. There's the new game, which honestly, I know more about the voice actors in the actual game. It's the one with
that's funny.
It's the one with Roger Clark. For those who don't know, he voices Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, yeah.
And also NFT Baker. He's also one of the characters in the game too.
NFT Baker. Oh no.
Yo, that man thought we forgot. Nah, fam. He thought
we forgot.
He didn't. But yeah, like I mean, it kind of reminds me of the trend back in like the early 2000s where every game was trying to be a first person shooter MW2 clone, and they all had the winter level. Like every single one of them had a winter level in the snow. Even if it didn't make sense.
Without a winter level, yeah.
Straight up, like all the time. But I mean, I like it as a fan of survival horror, as a fan of just horror games in general with spooky aesthetics. It's cool to see that that's becoming more mainstream. And I don't know, I feel like when you make a horror game, like the more developers that are working on it, the more that actually come up with like more interesting ideas. Like, bro, I'm so surprised that like Alien Isolation came out and the industry just did nothing.
Wow,
nothing, bro.
Speaking, you know, it's funny. Speaking of that, I think I sent it to you. No, I did.
Your cat is running back and forth like it's training.
Told you, bro.
Like it's training. Like it's training to fight the Saiyans in a year.
Kylo's his own thing, dude. I told you, he gets that mouse and he just does his own thing. What's up?
Okay, so you were saying you sent me something.
Oh yeah, I sent you. So probably years ago, I backed this project. I think it's in 2020.
Bro, that cat is going through your shelf.
He's fine. He's fine. He's just fine. No, don't do it.
I'm telling you, bro.
Oh, don't knock the Darksaber over.
Yo, straight up. Where is the Darksaber? Where is it?
It's up top. I think you only see the hilt. It's on the very.
Okay. Oh, you want to show it? You want to show it to people? Live Darksaber reveal. Oh my God! It's going for the Darksaber. Kylo is going for the Darksaber. About to become too powerful. Get that Darksaber, bro.
I'm offering you.
No temptations. No temptations.
He doesn't want the temptations.
He wants that Darksaber, bro.
See, I gotta put the temptations on the ground,
bro.
Fuck it, he's fine. Pops, and it won't be the first time the saber fall. It won't be the last time.
Straight up, man. Moff Gideon has entered the chat, and now it's gonna open. Now Kylo's gonna open the door.
I'd be impressed if you open the door. I'm not gonna lie.
Straight up.
But yeah. So on Discord,
had to derail the podcast,
dude. For real, like I was telling you, like he was chill the whole time. Now he's just like. He's on the crack, dude. He's on
crack cocaine.
He's on the ketamine. Yeah.
Straight up.
But yeah, there was a game called Death Ground. See, I already forgot. It's been so long. But
Jesus.
I backed the project because I watched the videos on it that they were showing off. But it was essentially Alien Isolation with dinosaurs. But it was co-op.
Jesus. Oh wow! Holy shit.
And they were showing off different segments, like in a warehouse and in like an office kind of complex. And then the big set off for it that brought me into I'm back in it was the jungle vibe, being out in the jungles and being hunted by a T-Rex, and it's all Alien Isolation style, and along with co-op elements. So that's the only thing that I've seen that someone take, and of course it's an indie dev, you know, that took advantage of the isolation, you know, buzz. But other than that, no one really did anything with it. The Alien Isolation came and went.
I don't know. I
how
think
long those
maybe
are.
I'm not sure if it's because there aren't a lot of horror or like horror games out in the mainstream, or maybe it's because it's a niche since that you already have a contingent of people. Shout out to Hustle and Motive, he was in the chat, who just won't play it. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, oh no, I'm not gonna touch that. Too spooky for me. But yeah, it's cool, and I really like just like from the end of 2022 into early 2023, we have Resident Evil 4 remake, Callisto Protocol.
I cannot wait for that.
We have Resident Evil 8 Gold Edition. It's getting story content, and then there was one more game, and I'm forgetting it. It was on the top of my head, I forgot, but it's another like survival horror themed game that was coming out. Which one was it? There was 4 of them.
Which one was it?
Yeah, it's literally gonna come to me at the end of the stream. I'm like, oh, that's for the one. But yeah, so they showed off a lot of that stuff there, which I enjoyed. But I mean, honestly, the rest of the showcase, I didn't care much for. I mean, it's the type of thing now where when it comes to anticipating games, I don't really anticipate games until they're like a week out. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like until I actually get into a position where I know I'm going to be playing this game right now, that's when I'll get excited, because I'm like just how things have been in game development.
I want to say I'm kind of the same, but I'm like a 50-50 split on that. Like like I'm thinking like when's like the last game I actually, check shit out for nonstop. It's been a minute, but most of the time I watch like one trailer, kind of leave it. Like Last of Us Part 2. Like Last of Us Part 2. I was sold on the game. I finished up playing Last of Us again. And then Last of Us Part 2, I literally only saw the announcement trailer at E3. That's it. I never got into any of the spoilers. I never got into any of the leaks. I never got to anything. It came out, bought it, played it, boom. Same with Ghost of Tsushima. But there's some games like Spider-Man. Spider-Man, any type of breadcrumb that came out, I was out there sucking it up, inhaling it, snorting it, crushing it up, inserting it, it didn't matter. Pause.
You're like, oh, wow. I like, see, that's the thing. I'm the same way, where I get excited for games, but unless it's put in front of me at a showcase, I just want to not look at it, because I want to be as surprised as I can when I play the game on release.
Yes.
Like
that,
dude,
agreed.
I like for movie trailers, like, bro, I'll watch the main trailers for something, but like, man, Marvel, oh my god, with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, even though they didn't spoil a lot of stuff, they were putting out a new trailer or TV spot every single day, and I'm like, yo, stop it, you guys, like, we don't need to see this.
Threw that shield in one trailer.
Yo, absolutely, bro. So I'm trying to do the same with video games, and obviously it's different mediums, so you can't get spoiled too much, but especially stuff that's got like story content and everything.
Yes, absolutely. That I will agree with, but again, like I said, it depends, because Spider-Man, dude, for Miles Morales and regular Spider-Man, I fucking watched every single piece that came out. I didn't care. I wanted that game. Same with Jedi Fallen Order. I watched every single piece of media, screenshot, coding, word of mouth that came out. And it varies, but like games like Ghost of Tsushima, I watched 2 gameplay videos of that, the announcement, and then I think there was one other one I watched that was kind of more in-depth dive on the open world. That was it. Sold, bought the game. So like, I guess it really does depend for me on what it is, and I don't know what really is the driving force in that, because like Kingdom Hearts 3, I probably only watched like the announcement of it, and then maybe like the release date trailer for that. And I don't think I really dived hard on that, which is weird, because like I'm really big into Kingdom Hearts, so I'm not too sure what the real driving force is on what I look for. Maybe for me it's just like the flavor of the month, what's tickling me at the time, but it really does vary. But most of the time I stay away from a lot of it. But if I'm thinking about it a lot and it's something that I'm really, really, really excited for, I can't stop myself. I really can't. And if it's a multiplayer game, whatever, I'll fucking watch whatever. It don't matter to me. Like World of Warcraft, I'll watch whatever announcement videos. They ain't gonna, like, all the spoilers are in the cinematics in the game, and story quest. So it really varies. Like Final Fantasy 16 right now, I'm snorting every line of that, dude.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Whatever.
sir.
Look, I'm out there with my little cup, saying, give me a crumb of the
He's
coochie.
like,
Like I'm
yo,
like,
literally, he's like, excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. Do you have any spare
do you
coochie,
got a
please?
you got a smidgen of? Oh, actually,
You got a crumb of the
do
coochie?
you got a
Oh,
crumb
he's
of the
got a fucking
coochie?
cup.
Do
Jesus
you got
Christ. The
crumb of the
Mando cup.
coochie?
Oh my
Crumb,
god.
please.
This is the way. This is the fucking way with the Mando cup. Oh my lord. But yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same way for the most part. Even though like there's like some stuff that I'll get excited about. You know what it is? What really helps me? If it's something that like, okay, Final Fantasy 16 for example. They put out one trailer in 2020. It's 2 years later. They put out another trailer. I feel fine about that, especially because it was in front of something in a showcase. But like, if we get to the point where we're, let's say, like 3 months out from the game, and every other week they're doing something, it's
Okay,
50-50.
yeah.
I might watch it if it's like, let's say, a dev diary for the combat. But if they start dropping them story trailers, nah.
Okay, yeah, that I agree with. That is when I kind of get tuned out. That's when it kind
Yeah.
of becomes a little oversaturated. I think the only one I really sucked into was probably Spider-Man. Spider-Man, I watched everything because I wanted to see more of that combat. And every time they released a trailer, there was something new they were showing in the like every demo display of the game.
Yeah.
Who could forget Watergate for Spider-Man?
Oh, the Puddlegate.
Puddlegate. Yeah, that's right.
Get
Yeah,
it right.
yeah, yeah.
Shout out to our Canadian friend Kofi from Press Start Podcast. R.I.P. Press Start. But he started the whole Puddlegate thing inadvertently.
Oh
You know what I'm
my
saying? He started the whole
God.
comparison shit. I was like,
Oh,
Kofi, that is your legacy, bro.
dude, what a legend.
Yeah. Like,
I would say a menace, but that's legendary status now.
straight up, bro. Shout out to Puddlegate. But yeah, so Summer Games Fest. I mean, it's a Jeff Keighley show. There's gonna be some stuff you like. For the most part, I didn't really care for it. But moving into another showcase, which is probably the biggest showcase if we're talking the entire like whatever period of time we're in where they talk about gaming news. But the Xbox Bethesda showcase that went down
Oh yeah.
end of last week on Sunday, and
Was it? Oh yeah, it was Sunday.
yeah, it just screws your perception.
There was so much shit like dropping in the last week, dude. Like even today, I'm just like it's all been 1 week, 1 day.
Straight up. Yeah. So we had the Xbox Bethesda showcase. This was the first time they actually did an in-person sort of event since shutdown. They hosted Xbox Fan Fest where, you know, they invited members of the community. They could watch the showcase there. You got to meet some of the content creators who were visiting, meet the executives, all that. And yeah, overall, I mean, similar to the Summer Games Fest, I just watched this showcase and I was like, all right, there's video games here. But for the most part, I wasn't too impressed with what was shown off. I did notice a couple of games that I myself am very interested in. But the things that I was looking for out of Xbox, in the sense that it's what I've been waiting for since, you know, I bought an Xbox a few years back and I'm just waiting to see this promise fulfilled. We didn't really get that. And I'm, of course, referring to the first party focus. Now, I know there are going to be some people who are saying, well, you know, this showcase was only focused on games that are coming out within the next calendar year. And that's cool and everything. You want to highlight stuff that's coming soon and you can play it rather than years out. But to the same degree, it is kind of disappointing because showing what they have coming for the next year, sure, there's games that fill a calendar date, but there's nothing that's like, well, first off, there's nothing that's making you go, wow, I bought the most powerful Xbox console in the world to play what? Like, we have Forza Motorsport, which looks amazing. It looks fantastic, but the thing,
Forza.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like Forza, and Forza is always a quality series, whether it's Horizon or Motorsport. It's always going to look good. But that's Forza. It always does that. That's like a Gears of War game coming out, and it's solid. Oh yeah, you know, Gears, because it's solid. I was just expecting a lot more of Xbox's studios to have something for not only the fall season, but the first half of 2023. And even though
I was expecting some avowed stuff at the bare minimum,
right? You know, and that's the thing. They said they're focusing on stuff that's coming out by, at that point, June 12th or 13th or 11th of 2023. So there's a possibility we might get some stuff at the end of 2023 or the summer. But it's so sad because the two games that were supposed to be the main focal point for Xbox is 2022. They're pushed to 2023. And
That's rough.
it makes it more of a sour experience because it's like, okay, we already had to wait 6 months out of 2022 and we haven't gotten anything out of Xbox first party. Now we have to wait bare minimum another 9 months because, they're not going to drop it in January, February. They'll probably drop it in March. We got to wait another 9 months for the next big game from Xbox first party. And, this will be the last thing I have to say before I pass the mic off over to you, Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
This showcase was definitely about Game Pass and showing you that there are Game Pass drops coming out.
Yeah.
And that's great that you have all these single A and double A games in Game Pass. That's fantastic. And I'm sure, the next Plague Tale is going to be just as good as the first one and all this other stuff is going to be cool. But take away Game Pass out of that equation. Take away the monthly subscription service where you get
2-minute
games
show
free. Exactly that. Would people still be saying the same thing if all these games were coming out and they were most of them that are coming out are still multi-plat? They just have day one Game Pass. If all of these games were in this showcase, but you took out the fact that it was on Game Pass, would people be satisfied with Xbox's 2022 and first part of 2023? And that's the question I pose to people. I can't answer it because there's going to be some people saying, yes, I love games. I love games.
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
And more power to you guys. But
there's some people that are just like that happy dog, they just need a little love and affection and they're fine with it.
Yeah. But I have this opinion that if people weren't getting these games on Game Pass, they would have completely different energy to a lot of the stuff that's happening. And that's not to say that this is because Redfall or Starfield got delayed. It's not because of that. It's a part of it, but it's sad that Xbox, you're coming off of 2021 where you just launched Forza, great, fantastic game, no issues. And then Halo, which we're not going to get into, but obviously Halo is not going to be ready or finished anytime soon.
No.
So
that's a day and date project.
Yeah, exactly. That's a 10-year project right there. So it makes me disappointed that, this showcase would be the best way I describe Xbox's showcases now is they're dessert and icing without the cake. So it's like, Gabe, I give you a bowl and you have Cool Whip and I give you sprinkles, right? You're probably wondering, where's the ice cream? Where's the brownie? Where's all of that stuff? And
Where's the cream of the crop?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not getting any of that stuff. I mean, fingers crossed next year we'll be doing this podcast and they'll have more to show us. Well, they'll have more to show us, but it's just...
Oh, man, Avowed. It looks so good. I can't fucking wait. Oh, Fable. They showed off Fable. God, I just can't wait.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just... It just goes to show you that Xbox really didn't have anything planned like that or had anything in the tuck for the foreseeable future, and they're coasting on by because of Game Pass, and that's not something that I want them. Yeah, and announcements, and that's not something I want them to keep on doing because in my honest opinion, I feel like it's devaluing my time because these games are still available elsewhere. But Gabe, I want to pass it over to you, man. What are your thoughts on the showcase and basically everything that I brought up? Go ahead, bro.
Well, starters, I thought it was funny that they used the showcase as a lukewarm BlizzCon. I thought that was fucking hilarious. I laughed.
That's right. Yeah.
I laughed because BlizzCon was canceled this year. I don't even know if BlizzCon's going to come back. Kind of same kind of stratosphere that we were talking about earlier with E3, and same thing with in-person and all that stuff, like BlizzCon being a huge in-person event, but with Xbox taking over, are they going to want to have those big show hitters showing up on their stuff? And this gameplay preview kind of made me feel like that's how they're trying to pivot it towards. I don't know. Again, could be because it got canceled, but last year's BlizzCon was online only, so made me kind of go, so I don't know. But I thought that was hilarious that they used Overwatch and Diablo 4
Mm.
as a showcase spreader. And I just felt like filling. Like that's just those are announcements that we would have saw 6 months ago if BlizzCon actually came up like it was supposed to be.
True.
Again, what you said was like a big Game Pass ad. I mean, I was whatever about it. I have Game Pass, so it's not like I'm not getting benefit from what they're telling me, but it's definitely not something that I need to be told every 30 seconds, and it's not something that I feel like I need a showcase for. I mean, we already get Twitter posts on what's the next Game Pass titles being added to everything, so I get the whole Xbox's Game Pass and the future's Game Pass. Like, I totally understand that. I don't need to be explained it over and over again. So I mean, there was some good stuff. I mean, we got to see gameplay of Starfield, and yeah, it was rough, and that's fine because we already knew it was delayed. So I was kind of whatever about it. Like, yeah, they got it in a playable state where they're able to record it and show it to us. Cool.
Could you imagine if that was supposed to come out? Well, it was supposed to come out this year.
Dude, it was supposed to come out this year. That's why I said the first thing I said 15 seconds into the gameplay was, cool, it's delayed next year.
Oh,
wow. With a smile on my face. Great. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Don't need another November sci-fi game being released in a not a playable state. I'm good on you guys. I'm glad. You know what? It probably took them a lot to swallow that fucking that bullet, that pill, because they already had the release date set up 11/11/11. Their whole 11/11 thing.
For
so
Skyrim.
Yes, and they did it with Fallout, I think, as well, right? With 4.
Yeah, Fallout 4.
I could be wrong.
So like Fallout 4. Let me double check, but go ahead.
Yeah. So like they already had their whole 11/11 thing slated, tease, all ready to go. But the fact that they are still able to delay it and say, yo, this shit ain't working, this shit's chop, good for them, even if it means that we're not going to get the symbolic 11/11 date,
Okay,
but,
so Fallout 4 was by 1 day. It was 1 day off. It was November 10th. So in that ballpark, though.
November 10th. Okay, so it wasn't. It was pretty close.
Yeah.
But honestly, Redfall and Starfield were like the only two things that really kind of like made me stop what I was doing and pay attention.
Okay.
So Redfall, I'm pretty excited for. Redfall, I can confidently say that looks like a great game. And again, might be biased because you know me, Chris, with the Left 4 Deads and that style of gameplay, and them showing off being this more talent tree orientated, almost looks like open world-ish with objectives in it. I'm all for Redfall. I want to see more Redfall. I want to know more about what the plans are for Redfall. But I was that was cherry on the cake. That was a dessert. That was the full dessert.
There you go.
Right there.
There you go.
Everything else was kind of like, I don't know, Hot Wheels, Forza. Cool.
Hey, I'm excited because I can finally play that. Because I missed
out. We already got a Hot Wheels game, bro. We got Hot Wheels Unleashed. I'll get you Hot Wheels Unleashed.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
I've seen so many videos of people who had Forza Horizon 4 and then they go back and they play 3 because it had the Hot Wheels DLC. Now, listen. I want to be excited.
Man listens.
I want to, listen. I want to be part of the Horizon crew for the first time, and I can play my Hot Wheels DLC like all the cool kids. But yeah, that shit look fire. Redfall, I'm excited for because similar to you, Left 4 Dead stan and all that. I just got to see how they handle it long term because Arcane.
Yes.
This is their first. I assume this is gonna be. I mean, with the way things are, like it's probably gonna be not necessarily a live service game, but it's gonna be a game that's got to be supported. So if the core stuff is great and everything about it from the talent trees and the upgrade system and all that stuff is on point, who knows? It could be that game that captures that spark of Left 4 Dead because we all thought it would be that with Back 4 Blood. And unfortunately it didn't go out that way.
No.
So I'm excited though. I'm excited because these guys,
it's still supposed to release this year, isn't it?
What? Redfall?
No,
it's coming out next year.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's definitely coming out before Starfield. Like everything is coming out before June. Fingers crossed. I mean, remember it's the games industry, so things could
Yeah.
get delayed. But if I had to take a guess, just based off the playable states of the game, Redfall maybe in March or April, and then Starfield
Okay.
probably in June, just based off of how much time each game would need. For all we know, Starfield could come out first if they're like, you know what, nah, we got this. And then Redfall maybe shortly after. But it's gonna be interesting, because this is gonna really be the first time where Xbox has two major new titles launching within proximity on Game Pass, because they've done that before. Like, 2021 they had Forza Horizon 5 and Halo, but those are two established titles. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think some of the older Forza games launched into Game Pass. At least I want to say Forza Horizon 3. I'm not so sure. People correct me in the comment section, but that's happened before. Forza's launched, or at least been on Game Pass, and people have had it. But now you're launching two new things from your acquired publisher within a certain time frame, which is going to be very interesting. So I think that's going to be the first time we actually see new games from new studios that are now owned by Microsoft launching into the service, and they are AAA. So I'm excited
I
to
didn't
see.
take that perspective until now.
Yeah, because that's the long-term approach Phil Spencer wants with Game Pass. He wants to launch a big AAA game, he said, every quarter. That was originally what he said. So you'll have like 4 big games every quarter. Now with all the studios, I think it's very possible that you get a big game every month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that especially with all the delays and
Yeah.
COVID and everything like that, like there has to be some stuff cooking, that's almost, ready to pop out,
Like Hellblade's been in development since like what, 2019?
Yeah.
So.
I can't imagine that's going to be much longer. I give it sometime next year for sure.
Yeah, and then I would say definitely like realistically like end of 2023 for that, Avowed. And then 2024 we start getting into some of the stuff that they announced in 2020, like
State of K3.
State of K3, Fable,
they
Everwild.
showed us that. Yeah, they showed State of K3 and said peace. Like, hey guys, we're working on it.
Bro, you know what the funny thing is? Like, no one picked up that was State of K3 until the end, and everyone's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Oh my god, bro. But yeah, so
right now.
oh dude, yeah, absolutely. Go back and rewatch that. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. 2023 finally seems like the year for Xbox where
there's something else we're missing too, that like you said State of Decay,
Fable, Everwild.
Oh,
and Indiana Jones as well.
That too. No, that as well. Yes. Fuck, dude, I'm having a brain fart. Obsidian's other title.
Outer Worlds 2.
Number 2. Yes. That one. You already said it. Did you say that?
No, I didn't say that yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that one too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think most of those games should hit within 2024, and then maybe 2025 if we're being realistic for some of the other ones. But yeah, I think hopefully in the next like 2-3 years, we'll see the fruits of this Game Pass labor. And that's when we can finally have this discussion about its true value in the industry, which is going to be exciting. But there were a couple of things that they did end off the showcase with that I thought was very interesting. So the first one being Hideo Kojima is working with Xbox Studios. You want to talk about an announcement where he's just like, peace? Like that man showed up and said, my name is Hideo Kojima. Goodbye. Like straight up.
Is that on the announcement? I'm working on something for Xbox. You guys have a good one.
Yeah. So the funny thing about it is that there have been rumors, if you've been following this for the past like couple months, of Kojima having some partnership with Xbox. And the thing that they always mentioned was it had something to do with Microsoft Cloud and utilizing the cloud. So a lot of people thought it's going to be a cloud game in the sense that, oh, he's making a game for cloud streaming. I don't necessarily think it's going to be that. What I think, if I had to guess what it is going to be, it's still going to be a Kojima game, but similar to Death Stranding, where that utilized the access of the internet to shape the way your game is. It's going to be like that, but on crack cocaine. So you'll probably still have your regular experience, but it'll be made so much better with whatever Microsoft Azure technology is going to change it. And I'm honestly excited to see it just based off of that, because Kojima, I might not like some of the games he makes. He's a pretty innovative guy. Like, you cannot deny that this man has
Oh yeah,
talent.
absolutely. Even if Death Stranding isn't for you, it's still that man's definitely he's definitely a stepping stone kind of guy.
Yeah. So
He's definitely a foundation lander.
right.
Layer.
So
Layer.
obviously I don't expect that game to be out no time soon. We're looking
No.
we're looking bare minimum 2025 if we're being serious, maybe end of 2024, who knows. But yeah, Kojima partnership with Xbox Game Studios. A lot of people thought he was going to be acquired by PlayStation, but I don't think he wants to do that after the whole Konami situation.
He definitely wants to be freelance.
And
I'm waiting for after this one. He's gonna go do Nintendo, so he can finish the holy trifecta. He's got the Triforce.
What kind of game would he make? He might do a Switch remake of freaking Twin Snakes. We're gonna do a Twin Snakes remake specifically for the Switch.
Yeah, what would he do for the Switch? What was something he would do? I feel like he would take the platformer approach. I feel like he would do a platformer approach, but I feel like, but with his own, like, I would say a horror platformer. That's what I would say.
I think he would make a more arcadey game.
Oh, yeah.
He could do, because he's done a lot of like side stuff. He did I think it was the first Zone of the Enders. I'm not sure about the second one, but he's done a bunch of like different stuff here and there. So he could do something that's more gamey rather than experimental. And I think that'd be great for the Switch, because the Switch is all about local cooperative play. So if he could craft a game around that with the Joy-Cons and the TV, like I'd be down for that. That's actually interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like his games are so, they all have his like, little like ingredients in it, but they're all so different.
Yeah.
Like Death Stranding is nowhere close to Metal Gear in any shape, way, or form.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the influences of Metal Gear, but it's not Metal Gear in any way.
Yeah.
Same with Silent Hill. Silent Hill, completely different game.
So it's going to be interesting to see what he puts out within the next couple of years. But honestly, I think the biggest announcement that really, it shouldn't have been the biggest announcement, but it was for me. We learned that the Persona series is finally coming to Xbox. Not just Xbox, but, it was confirmed 2 days later. The games are showing up on Steam and on PlayStation. Gabe, Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5 Royal, coming to Xbox, coming to Game Pass. You can play it on the One, the series, the cloud. It starts this October with Persona 5 Royal. How excited are you?
To my ears. I'm excited, dude. I'm very excited. I'm excited to try it out on PC, honestly.
You didn't get Persona 4 Golden on PC?
Oh, I did, but I meant like I'm excited to try like the other ones. Like,
okay.
I'm excited to see other Persona games on PC than Persona 4.
Right.
Is what I was saying. I'm curious to see how it all plays out, what kind of support they do with the other titles on PC hardware.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, because Persona 5 did not run it. It's not a big deal because it's a turn-based title, but it didn't run at 60 frames per second, even with the Royal enhancement. So I think it'll be really interesting with it coming to PC and also series consoles. And they specifically mentioned that it's coming to PS5. Persona 5 Royal is coming to PS5, which I thought was very weird. Like, why would you mention that unless either you're doing another physical version or it's getting some type of an update? I don't know what it would be, but
I bet you physical. I bet you it's like a physical with all of them in it. That's where I'm guessing.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
I'm thinking like $70, like I know $70 price tag, but I'm thinking $70 like physical with all three of them in it. That seems like the move they would probably make.
Dude, I would so buy that. I'm not sure if it'll ever come out on Xbox, but if it's on PlayStation, I'm buying that shit day one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, absolutely.
And it is great because, as we've seen in the past year, Xbox has slowly been getting more Japanese support. Of course, there was the big push. We got all the Yakuza games on Xbox. Dragon Quest came to Xbox. Of course, Square's been re-releasing the Final Fantasy games. We got all the Kingdom Hearts titles. And then randomly we got smaller titles like I the Somnium Files, Danganronpa 1 and 2 are on Xbox, Octopath Travelers on Xbox. So
Holy shit.
it's going to be interesting because Persona, even though if you look at the sales of Persona versus like a Final Fantasy, it's not the same. It's
No.
interesting that they highlighted this in the showcase because there is such a love and a demand. I want to see how whether it's the sales data or now this is what it is these days with subscription services, the engagement report. I want to see how well this does for Sega because they highlighted when they were talking about the Yakuza franchise, the success of Game Pass and how it brought more people into the series. And that's Yakuza, which is an even nicher title than Persona. So if they're able to have Persona on Game Pass and it just blow up, I don't know if that's a sign that other companies might bring out some of their franchises. Like, Square has a lot of titles.
Yes.
They have a lot of titles they could easily put out. They could port like the Legend of Mana series.
Oh yeah.
The Trails, even though Trails is a very, very niche title by comparison, all the Trails games we could get.
I mean,
more
that's
games.
definitely made a leeway on PC Trails.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When they released all of them in that 1 year.
Mm-hmm. So, the best thing I have to say to people who want to see more of those games is you got to support it, whether you're buying it or whether you're downloading it on Game Pass. These companies are looking at it, and that's the only way to get more of these games. Period. Point blank.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm excited to see more turn-based and Japanese titles on Xbox solely for the fact that Game Pass, I mean, mainly for me at least, with because I play most things on Xbox related on PC already.
Microsoft household.
Yep, Microsoft household. But I'm excited. God damn it.
OG Sweaty Cats. OG Sweaty Cat subscribers will know the meaning behind that.
I tried to push past it, but I just couldn't.
It's in your DNA, bro. Like once you play 1 versus 100, you can't go back. You're an Xbox fan.
It says mDNA on my blood test.
Oh Jesus Christ, your blood type M.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, before we pivot, definitely got screwed on the 1 versus 100. I see you talking about that all the time, dude. All the time. And I remember even before that showcase landed, you were like, if they don't announce a 1 versus 100 on this showcase, I have no faith. You're like, it's a failed case.
Yo, dude. Because when I have like the Xbox 360 is still one of my all-time favorite consoles because that was that was the first one. Yeah, exactly. That really it changed the way I viewed gaming. Because PS2 had online, Xbox had online, GameCube had online, but the fact that the Xbox was like the first mainstream console that made it so seamless, built into the ecosystem, and then it got to the point where it's like we've got this shit on deck. Let's just start doing weird shit. Let's do a game show, 1 versus 100, play with your friends, like that type of stuff. I love it. It's the same reason I love Wii Sports and why it's one of my favorite games. Because
it's just fun. It doesn't have to be like this crazy sophisticated co-op online multiplayer shooter RPG whatever. It's just fun. It's just mindless fun that is done so well that it definitely triggers a part of your brain that wishes it was still around or still there. It's one of those like you look back on it and that's how much fun it was, is that you could look back on it and not think a single bad damn thing about it. And didn't they say that they're working on a 1 versus 100, or didn't they tease something about it? I don't know, months ago.
It's just one of those things where they say
speculation.
They say like we hear you, and you know what that means. That's like probably a year, 2 years
noted.
Out.
It's noted.
Scene, that type of
it's left on scene.
Exactly. So I'm hoping maybe one day it'll happen. I just think that's kind of like a missed opportunity for some of these consoles, just to have those system-wide games that don't necessarily have to be stuff you buy, or it could be something you buy, but it's made by the publisher, and it's like a fun way to just get people involved. It's like, PlayStation Home. That was like a fun thing, It was just a fun, like, random thing. You just go on your PlayStation, you do that. So I'm excited to see what they do going forward with Xbox. I'm excited to see, hopefully at a later date, what some of these games end up becoming. But yeah, just going forward for like the next year, it's looking like a very chill year for
I
Xbox.
just I just can't wait for all these titles to come out. I mean, I know
Yeah,
like the biggest shtick Xbox has always gotten is Xbox has no games.
yeah,
And now we got all these announcements. It's like cool. I mean, we still don't have no games, but now it's like getting we're getting closer and closer to the end game. So
yes,
it's like I'm looking forward to that Thanos moment when bam, gauntlet, all gems loaded up, people are falling apart. We got games. Like that's the moment I look forward to is when these titles are just dropping and dropping and dropping. I feel like the stress and the subject will finally change, not only between individuals, but like on social media, and especially in like gaming Twitter. I think a lot of that will start to I think it'll start to pivot. The discussion will definitely start to pivot. I'll move away from Xbox got no games to Xbox has games. Now who's the better game kind of deal, I think it'll be a good, refresher for sure. Cause I honestly can't wait to see these drop. Like I look forward just to be able to see it on my screen. I even look forward just to see it existing. Like I want to see it actually be alive. I would like to see these games be, not just a cinematic, even just for me right now, maybe it's just brothers are thirsty, but I just I just want to know what it's all about. I just want to know what are we looking forward to. Like I think Avowed is probably really up there for me. I want to see it. I want to see it so badly. I want to play it now, even though I don't know what it is. So it kind of contradicts how I'm actually feeling. But I just it's that starving. It's that starve.
yeah.
It's the I just want to try this shit. It's like I want to be excited for it because there hasn't been nothing, and now there's something for it. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? But right now, I just want it. Like it doesn't matter if it's C tier or if it's A tier. Bottom of the barrel, top of the barrel. But I'm really am excited for next year in gaming, and I think not even just for Xbox as a whole, but just everything together that comes out next year, just all
Mm-hmm.
together. Like next year, dude. Like if you really like put it into perspective,
Yeah.
like if these titles for Xbox do drop along with the PlayStation titles, dude, and whatever Nintendo's got cooking up, hopefully some of the big boys they've been kind of spitting at us with start dropping next year. Next year, dude, is gonna be fucking nasty. Like
Yeah, it's gonna
straight
be
up.
crazy
Like
because a lot of the stuff that got delayed out of 2021 into 2022, 2022 into 2023, like all of these games, I'm not like there. I'm sure there were some games that were supposed to come out, let's say 2020, but they probably just pushed it off to like 2023, just so
mhm.
because it really affected the development. Like that happened with a couple of
Oh
the
yeah.
Nintendo games, though, especially
You
the ones
might
that
as
are
well
coming up on
scratch
yeah.
off 2020 as a non-development year almost.
Yeah, and then when things started to get back into full steam, like 2021, I think 2022 has probably done the best in terms of everything now being normalized, whatever this new sense of normalcy is, we can continue. But yeah, like 2023 is going to be real. And I know we say this every year, like it's going to be the year just based off of what we've seen. If any of, like, hopefully none of those games get delayed, it's going to look crazy. But I think that is a perfect way to pivot into 2023 because there is one publisher that is looking to have a really good 2023, and that's Square Enix, Gabe.
Yes.
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 So
Yes.
literally about like a good hour before this
Can't have the
showcase
smile.
started, Square Enix had their own mini presentation. It wasn't a presentation highlighting what games they have coming out like as a brand. It was one focused
Mhm.
for Final Fantasy because it
My
is.
favorite franchise.
Yep, and it's a franchise within a franchise because it's Final Fantasy VII's 25th anniversary. Which, Gabe, can you fucking believe that, bro? 25
Dude,
years, like
I'm 27, so it's like makes me feel like an old piece of shit, but
Like, I remember when they dropped Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 3 store, and it was such a huge deal because it's like, oh my god, Final Fantasy VII is back. It's crazy. And that was actually my first time playing the game. So I didn't
remember
play.
when they dropped the at the time the remake when it wasn't
Oh god.
the Popeye arm, it was the actual like, 3-dimensional models, and that was considered the hot shit.
Are you talking about you're talking about when they were showing off the PS3 and they did that tech demo?
No. So
or
there's
talking
like
about when they first announced the FF7 remake and it had like really sickly looking cloud.
no. So there's how to explain? There's different versions of like Final Fantasy VII. There was like the old, so they did like the little polygon like fat arm version, and then they had like a slightly like updated like I don't know what
was that the
word
PC
was.
release? Because I know it came out on PC.
I think so. Maybe it was for that one, but there was one where like they cleaned up the models like really really well.
Oh! I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like
They look kind of like action figures.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so there wasn't the big polygons. I'm not sure if maybe that was a mobile release or something, but
maybe.
okay.
I could be getting all my days and times mixed up, but I just remember when they cleaned it up like a bit, and that was even considered like the hot shit.
Yeah, and it's wild to consider that we're so far removed from those days, and now we're at the 25th anniversary, and they showed the fuck up for Final Fantasy VII. We got,
dude, for real.
We got so many announcements, but I want to highlight 3 particular ones that I think most people are going to walk away from being really excited. The first one is probably, it's the lesser of the 3, but Final Fantasy VII Remake plus the integrated DLC is coming out on Steam. I believe it's up for pre-order now, and by the time most people are watching this on playback, it'll be available for people. So that's cool. It's coming out like I think they had a 6 months exclusivity with the Epic Game Store, and now, as most people are saying, oh, it's finally released on PC.
That's how most people look at it.
Right,
it's finally out now.
Exactly. Oh, and Anime Gaming Nerd in the comment section is saying you might be thinking of a mod because there's a lot of mods for FF7 on PC.
I might be, because like that's the problem when I play like on all these platforms. They just all kind of like mold together in my brain as one entity.
Just a hive mind. Look at this guy.
Yeah, basically.
Straight up hive mind. It's like Mass Effect 2 with the collectors assuming control.
Yes.
Straight
yes.
Up.
Perfect example.
Yeah. So yeah, we have Intergrade coming out on the Steam platform, so finally people can play it there. Unfortunately, though, one thing we didn't see in this showcase was an announcement for Final Fantasy VII Remake on Xbox at all.
Is it coming at all to Xbox? Like, was that ever confirmed? Or was that just like kind of like a rumor? Do we know?
It's always been a rumor, but a lot of people figured it was just a really big time exclusive. So basically, what the original deal was, when what they announced was that it was going to be time exclusive on PlayStation for an entire year. It's even what it said on the box, like timed exclusive until end of March 2021. So a lot of people are thinking, oh, okay, so after a year it'll probably come out on Xbox. But then Square Enix announced the Yuffie Intergrade Intermission DLC. That came out in June, and then that DLC had a 6-month timed exclusivity. It said it right there, exclusive until December 2021, which people are like, why is this DLC 6-month exclusivity? So then at that point, people speculated, oh, okay, so what's going to happen is they're waiting for the DLC to come out, so that way, once the exclusivity is done, they can release it as one bundle on Xbox and PC at the end of 2021. Because, they did a PS5 upgrade for FF7 Remake, so it looks beautiful, 60 frames, awesome. So now, that's going to be the Xbox release, right? Well, the Game Awards came, they announced it for PC, and that was it, bro.
I always feel like Final Fantasy's been like the ugly stepchild for Xbox. Like every time they treat it that way, like I always feel like it's the lesser one. I was surprised that freaking. It's funny because like I played I mean, I played 13 on the Xbox, so I always
Yeah.
in my mind, I was always like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy is big with the Xbox crew. Now it's just like it's an ugly stepchild because I think 16 is locked for PlayStation as well, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the weird thing. They're so strange with Final Fantasy because they'll port all the older games, which doesn't mean anything. It's cheap to do it. But they'll release the mainline titles. Well, 13 obviously they put on Xbox. That was a huge deal, and it was also because the PS3 sales were really slow for the first half. And then it just became because the whole series was on there. So they did 13.2, 13.3. And then
Yeah.
they announced Final Fantasy 15 was coming to Xbox. Similar thing because at that time when they announced it, Xbox 360 was huge. So obviously the next move is, okay, we'll put it on the one. But now, as we've been far removed, like years from that, they haven't put any like, well, the only new Final Fantasy content that we've gotten has been Final Fantasy 14 and Final Fantasy. We're talking like mainline stuff, not like World of Final Fantasy or whatever.
Or like Type 0.
Yeah, well, Type 0 actually came to Xbox day and date.
Yeah, I did. I remember I fucking bought it just for the demo.
Bro, I have that collector's edition over there that I bought because it's a nice collector's edition. I'm like halfway through the game. I just stopped playing it. I was like, okay. Okay.
See, I didn't know that they took the co-op away from it, so me and a homie bought it just so we couldn't play it, and I was like, well, this sucks.
There's that, bro. So yeah, like 14 and then now the FF7 remake have not been on Xbox, and now with this showcase basically confirming that it's not going to be on Xbox, a lot of people are under the assumption that either PlayStation changed the deal or PlayStation had this hindsight back in like 2015, 2014 to secure all the parts timed exclusive, and you can't release it on any other console until the time frame is up, which would basically mean that they have it exclusive up until the end of the decade. Wait,
so you can play Final Fantasy on Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, things might change. It might change. Maybe they'll randomly announce like, oh, you know, with this coming out, it's coming out on Game Pass. Like, hooray! People would be excited. But as it's looking right now, if you want to play any future Final Fantasy VII content, you might want to get a PlayStation, which, you know, might as well, like, what can we just go into the biggest announcement, or should we just work our way up? Because there's two more games. Should we do the biggest one? Work our way up?
Work our way up. We're getting to the beans and potatoes. We'll get to the steak last.
Yeah, okay. So, because that would have been a perfect segue. But in weirder news, a Final Fantasy game that is coming to Xbox, we've got Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, which is a full-on, I don't even want to call it just a remaster. I feel like it's this weird in-between a remaster and a remake, you know?
It's definitely an in-betweener because people, they've already been like hard, you know, there's already hard comparisons already out there. It's definitely not the same, but it's not like 7 remake graphically, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not the same. It's weird. It's definitely an in-betweener, 100%. Not the same game it was that you played on the PSP back in 2008.
2008.
Yeah, we're around there. Yeah, not the same one, but it's not like 7 remake style, you know, graphically. But it's not. It's weird. It's so weird. It's like I don't have any other comparisons. Like I'm trying to think, and it's like there really isn't any other comparisons to use for it. It's definitely a halfer.
It's so weird because now things are like the line is becoming blurred between what is a simple remaster, what's a remake. And I think what happens is as you get further removed from certain games, you enter this weird point where it's like, now we don't know what to do, because if we remaster it as is, it's not going to look good up to current standards. But we're going to make it look better, but we're not going to go full-blown remake. So I feel like it's that weird in-between area, which honestly I don't mind, because I feel like that
looks good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good. I mean, it's definitely a step up from the PSP graphics, 100%.
Absolutely. And I think for the most part, this is a good happy medium because it preserves the integrity of that game.
It's almost like what they did with Birth by Sleep for the console version when they did 1.5, 2.5.
Right. Okay.
Almost like almost similar.
I think this is that, but to another level. And just because like we're now 8 years removed from when that collection came out, which is fucking crazy. We're 8 years removed.
Jesus.
From that. Wow.
Really?
Yeah. 2.5 came out 2013. I mean 2014.
Oh, okay. I didn't buy it till the PS4 version came out.
Oh, okay. Yes, I think it was 20.
That was when it did 1.5 and 2.5 together.
Yeah, that's good because it ran 60 frames on that one.
Because I don't think was Birth by Sleep on the old collection.
Yeah, 1.5 and 2.5 had everything, with the exception of Dream Drop Distance.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. All right.
So
God,
yeah,
damn.
it's
so many re-releases.
So many, bro. But I think we got to the point where now everything is just they're done. They can't do any more weird collections because everything would just be Kingdom Hearts all in one. You know.
I mean, that's what it is right now. That's what they call it right now. The Kingdom Hearts All-in-One collection. I mean, you want to talk about some goofy ass shit? Look at freaking no pun intended, but you want to talk some goofy ass shit? Look at them releasing Kingdom Hearts 3 on the Xbox and then not releasing the rest of the titles till fucking how long?
Like
it was at least
I think a year, 2 years,
something
later?
Like that. Yeah, I was like, that was the most goofy ass shit I've ever seen in my whole life, dude.
Yeah, it was like I think a solid year because I remember I was testing it when I got the Series X in late 2020, right. So it had to be on there, and I had it in May, so it was a year. They released it a year later. Okay.
Goofy that's wild, shit, dude.
Straight up. You know, I played Kingdom Hearts 3. I have no idea what's happening. Oh, there are the other games.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, I always felt bad. I always saw it. I was like, man, like, the only reason why you would be buying Kingdom Hearts 3 for an Xbox at this point is if you played all the other ones and, like, this is just the one you haven't played and you want to play on Xbox. But everyone else is just kind of like, it's so fucking weird. It's just weird. It's just weird to me.
Square's a weird company, and like this Crisis Core remaster, it's coming out on all platforms. It's coming out on PlayStation. It's coming out on Switch, PC, and Xbox, which is just I don't under like, bro. They're using, from what it sounds like, I'll have to go back and listen to it again. But it sounds like they're re-recording all the dialogue using the 7 remake cast.
Oh my god!
And they'll never get the 7 remake on it, but you can play with some of the characters that show up in the 7 remake. That's why.
I mean, this is gonna sound fucking stupid, but I mean, chronologically for the storyline, at least they're giving you the first one.
That's a silver lining. That is a silver lining.
You're gonna get the good Zack and Cloud story and why they're at where they're at. So when you get the 7 remake in 10 years, you'll know the whole damn thing.
Everything on full
in 10 years. You're gonna be able to play part 1, part 2, part 3.
Straight up, bro. And that's the Square Enix way. If you're an Xbox fan, I know some people are very pissed off about that. I was just scrolling through Twitter and they think it's unfair, it's bullshit, don't support it, blah blah blah. And then you get to the vicious cycle, because it's like you want to buy the game to support Japanese games, but then you don't want to support Square and their practices. So it's like, what do you do if you're an Xbox fan? Honestly, I have no idea. I just tell people, if you want Japanese games like that, just get a PlayStation, man. Like, straight up.
You're not wrong. Yeah, no, like, absolutely. Like honestly, what are you going to do? Like, I mean, get a PlayStation or a gaming PC at that point, really, because I mean, 7's running on Windows-based systems, for Microsoft Windows-based systems, before it is on the console. So it's like, and Series X and Windows and PCs, they both run on Windows 10, man. So like, like, clown fiasco. That's what it is.
It's a clown fiasco. It's a whole circus. I mean, who knows, man? Maybe the Game Awards this year, the big announcement will be it's on Game Pass. Oh my god, could you imagine that? 2 Game Awards showcases in a year announcing FF7 is coming to a different platform.
That'd be fucking. I'm putting that on my bingo card for the end of the year. I gotta remember that.
Yep. And we got a super chat coming in from Flame, $5. Gotta bend my knee to Square right here and now. They're remaking Crisis Core. Then we played on Xbox. Can't diss them because of this. I mean, It's a fact. It's a fact, man. I mean, me personally, I I'll probably end up buying this on Xbox, if only because I buy all my
Shit,
multiplats
dude.
on
I
Xbox.
I don't even know which system to buy this one on.
You know, so unless PlayStation's got some crazy, like, cool stuff about it, I don't feel weird about playing Crisis Core with an Xbox controller. Because man, I got that fucking quick resume. We lit, bro. Like, straight up.
I don't. It's been so long since I played it. It's like I don't even
Yeah.
know which one I want to play on. That's like my duality on a lot of these games. It's like, what system am I playing it on?
The Ouya. That's what you're playing it on.
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah. That was gonna change gaming, man. Remember that? Remember when
so
everyone was
yeah,
like,
dude.
yo, gaming is dead in 2012, 2013? Remember that? That was a weird era.
That was a weird era for game releases and a weird era for uh the rumored console announcements.
Dude, it was funny. But yeah,
That was
moving into the final announcement of the showcase, and I mean, we all had a feeling this was coming, but we didn't know if they were going to have the balls to drop all these megatons. We got our first trailer and first look at Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, now titled Final Fantasy VII
finally,
Rebirth.
finally, dude. That's all I
Dude,
can say to that.
I am so excited for the next part of the remake installment. I really loved a lot of the original Final Fantasy VII remake. There are some things I didn't like. I wasn't a fan of the pacing. I felt it was very drawn out. Like, they just took 5 hours of the story and they made it 30 hours, which they didn't need to do that. It could have been a solid 20-hour game and it would have been amazing. But the combat system, the visuals, so much about it, and just the intrigue of where the story is going to go. How different is it going to be with a part 2, and them really breaking this story down to its like individual atoms, and
Mhm.
trying to figure out what is Final Fantasy VII and how they are going to tell this story and how it's going to intertwine with all these things. And now with the Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core reunion, it has me so excited, man. And I want to see how this is all going to pay off for them. We also learned that the Final Fantasy VII remake project is going to be 3 parts. So 3 parts, similar to, how shit used to be back on the PS2, multiple discs. So it's 3 parts, 3 installments. Next part, if we're just going based off of the trajectory of development, probably 2026 if this one doesn't get
Oh,
delayed, which is crazy to think
oh,
about. I'll be in my early
oh,
30s at that point, bro.
oh, that's fucking terrible to think about, dude.
Dude, dude.
I part of me just wishes they would have did this differently. I don't know. Part of me wishes that like I get what they're doing, and I'm not really complaining because I like the game and I like the vision they're doing, dude. But like a
Yeah.
part of me kind of wishes that like it would have been like one game a year, dude. Almost like a part of
Oh,
me kind
like
of
Lord of the
wishes.
Rings, right? Yeah.
Yeah, part of me wishes that like yo, like our development went this far, we pushed it this far, we did it this much. Like, all right, this game, next one's gonna be sometime next year, and the next one's gonna be sometime next year. But now it's like they're so wide and far apart. It just it just feels weird. I don't know. I just feel like there's just like I don't know. It's a weird feeling, you know.
I think I know
It's
exactly what you're talking about, because this isn't something like, let's say, for example, an Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, where all the stories are standalone. So when you play
right.
Uncharted 2, you're like, man, this shit is fucking fire. And that's fine. You don't really think about where the story's going next. It's just, it leaves it as is. This is a story that is continuing, and it's a story that but at the same time you don't know, because they're doing different stuff. So it's kind of like you're watching a TV show and you end off the one season on a cliffhanger, and they tell you come back in 3 years for season 2. Like, that's fucking rough. Better Call Saul did that. There was one season,
I
there was like, I
mean,
think
we're
two
doing that
years.
with Mandalorian right now, man.
Yeah, doing that with Mando too. So it is kind of rough if you have to wait as long. And honestly, I feel like this wouldn't have been a problem, Gabe, if they didn't have to restructure development halfway through. Because remember, this was being developed by Bandai Namco in the beginning. Remember that?
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, when they first
Oh
announced it,
shit,
Bandai
dude.
Namco.
Yeah, I completely, dude, completely off my mind, dude. That's literally like a bucket in the. That's a drop in the bucket, dude. I completely forgot.
Yep. So they were co-developing it with Bandai Namco back in 2015 when they unveiled it. And then I think around like 2018 or so, there was this report that came out saying that like they had ceased development with Bandai Namco and they're restarting the project. So they had already, had issues getting this game off the
Mhm.
ground. So they had to like soft reboot it. And the game we played in 2020 was a culmination of, I want to say, probably 2.5, maybe 3 years of development if they're lucky, but it wasn't continuous. So I think that's why the first game it was good in a lot of respects. In other cases, it was very padded because they didn't have much else. Um,
Right. I mean, I loved it. I just wanted more, dude.
I know, absolutely,
I
absolutely, bro.
wanted I wanted I wanted 2 and 3 right then. I wish I would have opened up that game case and it was just 3 discs.
Dude, it is sad because that's been the game that I've been like I think about every now and then, even though I haven't replayed FF7 since it came out. It's one of the ones I'm most excited for just because I know the story, but I don't know the story. But yeah, we did get a release window, whether it sticks to it, don't know. But it's coming out winter 2023, which I mean, before people say, "Oh my God, that means next fall," that literally could mean anywhere from December to freaking February. If
Yeah,
you judge how people release stuff in the winter season. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with this, how different it's
me
going to
too.
be. But yeah, again, going back to what we were saying before, if you are a fan of the 7 remake project, you better get to owning a PlayStation or at least a gaming PC a year out because it doesn't look like it's hitting Xbox anytime soon.
And that one's only going to be on the PS5, correct? The part 2.
Yes, which
Okay.
I cannot wait to see how good that looks.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how good it runs compared to. I mean, it ran pretty good on the 4 considering all what it looked like and everything behind it, but I'm excited just to see the stabilization and
Yeah.
again how good it looks with current hardware.
Yeah, Square definitely goes hard with the consoles. They definitely push it to the limits and they have really good looking visuals. And if you played the 7 Integrate DLC and how beautiful and how smooth that looks, it's a taste of what's to come. So I don't think we're going to be in the market for like low res textures like there were on that seven PS4 version. The door that had no textures, that is a iconic in Final Fantasy is the Buster Sword, bro. Like let's be real.
Dude, I love that door, no textures. I remember seeing that shit for the first time. That it stuck out so well. I thought it was the funniest thing ever, dude. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. The no texture ass door.
Dude, it's iconic. It's very iconic. And then when it's gone, it's like, oh,
Broke my immersion. I don't want it no more.
straight up. They gotta bring it back as an Easter egg, like what Insomniac did.
Dude.
In Spider-Man PS4, if you swing out on the boat, you can see like the low res models from like the Spider-Man. I think it was the PS1 or the PS2 games, where they had the weird ass faces.
Dude, they should, bro. Dude, oh my god. Now I'm just oh my
We gotta bring it
god.
back. We gotta bring it back, bro. We'll start the
Dude.
hashtag when the next trailer comes out. We'll start it. We can start
Dude,
it.
hashtag low res door where
I'm telling you, we gotta
hashtag low res door.
that'll be the reunion. That'll be the true reunion. But yeah, you guys, that essentially wraps up a lot of the gaming stuff that's happened over the past 2 weeks or so. There were a couple of things that we could speak more on in depth, but I mean, it's for games that aren't coming out for a while. So if anything, when we see new trailers for those projects, we'll speak more about it. But I want to take like the last portion of the show, maybe like the next 12 to 15 minutes to open it up to the Q&A. Like I said, since we're doing the podcast, we like to keep things very focused and on point. But you guys have been doing such an amazing job in the comment section, showing us support, liking the video, leaving such great comments that we want to spend some time and chat with you guys. So go ahead and ask any questions you want, you guys. Maybe comment on some things we talked about. Maybe some stuff broke while we were streaming. But yeah, Gabe, if you want to go ahead and if you want to go ahead and scroll through, if you saw anything you wanted to respond to, go ahead, bro.
Let's see. Let's start. Any sus comments from Gabe? There was like 8 of them during the stream. Man.
There was actually a lot, bro. This
I
man
talked
talking about
inserting Spider-Man into me at one point.
snorting, like grounding up into dust and
Debate
inserting.
Obi-Wan. That's next weekend or next weekend. Next week.
Yeah. So next week, depending on how light or heavy the news is, we're going to be talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're definitely going to be doing a full-on spoiler discussion for that because it'll be wrapping up with the final episode, episode 6. And, that'll be 24 hours afterwards. So it'll give us some time to formulate our thoughts and we could speak with you guys.
What's y'all's history of Bethesda/Bethesda games?
Let me see that. What did they say?
What's y'all's history with Bethesda?
So yeah, my history, if we're talking about just the Bethesda RPGs, my history, it's pretty sparse compared to most people. Like I've played the major titles, you know what I'm saying? I've played through Skyrim, I've played through Fallout 3, New Vegas, never finished Fallout 4, kind of lost interest halfway between. Started up a playthrough of Oblivion. I played through most of it, but I never finished it. And then Morrowind, I just never touched. It was before my time, if you will, because I wasn't really gaming on
same.
I wasn't really gaming on OG Xbox like that, but I know people revere it and they love Morrowind. But I played most of Bethesda's RPGs and I really do enjoy them. I mean, obviously, my favorite is going to be Fallout New Vegas. Surprise, surprise. The most, original answer in all of gaming. But at the same time,
it's the right answer. What do you mean?
There you go. Never be ashamed. Never be ashamed of loving it. That's what made me a real big fan of Obsidian. So, yeah, I don't think anyone really makes games like Bethesda. Like, are their games really janky? Sure. But in terms of exploration, in terms of missions, in terms of...
I think it's the best.
Yeah, like Fallout 3, bro. Like, I'll never forget just my first playthrough blowing up the freaking nuke and just how that made me feel.
Oh, yeah, bro.
I felt dirty, bro. I felt fucking dirty doing that, bro.
I didn't even think it was going to be possible. I didn't think it was going to happen. I was just being an asshole to be an asshole. I didn't actually think it was gonna happen. Usually in most RPGs, there's some sort of like plot armor to why
that'll stop you.
X devastation isn't happening. You know, like Doomsday Clock got canceled or something goofy. And Fallout was like, yeah, no, the city's gone. If you didn't finish any of the quests or anything for any other people, that sucks.
R.I.P. man. So yeah, that's. And when that happened, it really prompted me to be like, I really wish I had a second save file in the tuck so I could go and replay it to see if I could do things differently and just really opening up the advent of choice to me as the gamer. I loved how they did that and how things could be very different. But what about you, Gabe? What's your history?
So funny enough, most of mine was just watching because I didn't have an Xbox 360 till 2000, the end of 2009, and before that it was all PS2. So I never played Morrowind. I never had a chance. I'd go to a friend's house and watch him play Fallout 3 a lot. My cousin, he was huge into Oblivion. I remember he had like the steelbook case of the game. He had like the Oblivion Xbox 360. Yeah, that this man's was deep in the Oblivion. I watched him play a lot of that. I actually didn't know at the time that it was called Elder Scrolls. I thought it was just called Oblivion.
Yeah.
When Skyrim first got announced, I was a lot older then and more coherent to everything. So my first deep dive of my own playing was actually just Skyrim. It was Skyrim, and then after that, Fallout 3. Shortly after that, it was New Vegas. I think Skyrim was the most I played. So my first full on playthrough of any of their series was on PC. It was actually bootlegging it off of a friend. He owned it, so I downloaded it and then put Steam in offline mode. So I got to play it.
Yes, sir.
That was the first time I got issues, and oh man, dude, I will never forget my first time playing Skyrim. and playing an RPG of that caliber ever, I'll never forget it. That was my, what was it, 2011, right?
2011. Yep.
Yeah, so junior year of high school. Your boy was doing online high school at the time, so you already know.
Oh man,
um,
he was doing remote teaching before remote teaching was cool. Look
yeah,
at that.
you already know. I still have a bunch of screenshots. I was huge into it on my Facebook. If I go back in like the history, there's a ton of them. Playing, just going to that world, the dragons, the customization right off the bat, getting my ass beat by a giant right away, not expecting those physics. Like, dude, that was, I don't think the they do a really good job of leaving the vault moment with their games. I will say that.
Yeah.
Fallout's always been great. Skyrim, the first time you actually leave the cavern and you go into the city and you're making your way up to Whiterun, like all that's really good. Outside of that, the only games I've really played from that was I've played 76, I played 4. I played a lot of Elder Scrolls Online, if you want to
Yeah.
consider that a Beth game. Other than that, that's about it I've really played from them. I haven't really touched really anything else from them. I mean, I've done like, um, yeah, no, that's about it.
That's a good amount
I
right
haven't,
there.
I haven't really like gotten like deep in it, like a lot of their games, like outside of like the core fields. Like I'm like thinking in my head, I'm
You
like,
want to know why? Because those games you sink so much time into that it feels like you've played a bunch of other games, but then you're like, no, I've only played a couple. But those couple can be like 1,000 hours. You know?
yeah, like I played like, I mean, they own a lot of like games, so I've played like their subsidiaries, but like as far as like games they developed, like those are the only ones I've really like put a full lot of time into.
Got you. All right, and just because piggybacking off the topic,
Of
Don
course.
Quixote PR, our friend. I know y'all saw the Fallout 5 announcement. Let's hope it's a Bethesda Obsidian collab. Yeah. So Todd Howard, when he was talking about Starfield, he basically confirmed that after Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 5 is our next big project, and Elder Scrolls 6 right now is in pre-production. So if you're looking at the time frame of how they develop games, right? If you're looking at the time frame from Fallout 4 in 2015 to Skyrim, that'll be almost 8 in Skyrim to Starfield, that'll be almost 8 years. And if you be conservative and let's just say it takes like 5 years to go from Starfield to Elder Scrolls. Like let's say 5 years. You're still looking at 2028 for Elder Scrolls 6. And if we're talking about just the main team, they don't have any subsidiary teams or they help from other developers, you're looking at 2032, 2033, which is
Dude,
absolutely we're talking about games that are 10 years out.
dude, my daughter's gonna be like 11 or 12. I'm gonna be able to fucking play this with her.
Oh my god. Now
I made a Twitter post joke about it
I got
too.
to go find that.
I was like, man, I was like, Fallout 5 just got announced. I was like, and we don't even have Elder Scrolls 6. I was like, by the time I'm gonna be able to play Fallout 5, I'm gonna be in a wheelchair. I was like, I'm gonna tell my daughter. I remember when Fallout was a tabletop view and had an online game, and then she's gonna call me senile and throw me in hospice care.
Yo, straight up, bro. And that's crazy. Like I remember on Twitter I was being optimistic and I was saying, "Oh, cuz when Starfield comes out, they could put out Elder Scrolls 6 maybe in like 2 to 3 years cuz I was thinking they had multiple teams working on these games at the same time. I was thinking like, all right, you have the Starfield which is like Skyrim Fallout in space and it looks more like Fallout in space. Cool,
Mhm.
but Elder Scrolls 6 will appeal to the different kind of people and they can put them out within the same 2 year or so gap and people will be happy. Like how it was in the 360 days.
Yeah.
Wrong. They said pre-production, which means yo,
Todd Howard even gonna be alive?
I I don't even know. The game industry always tends to
man,
skew.
that man's as old as fuck.
Yeah, I think he's in his 50s now. But the
He
thing
doesn't
is,
look it, but he's old as fuck.
the game industry, it skews young. Like most people don't realize this, but like most of the creators in the game industry who they revere, like Miyamoto, Kojima, etc., they all did their best work when they were in like their early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s. It's absolutely insane to think about. And same thing for Todd Howard, you know. So if we're being realistic, I mean, it depends, you know, how long he wants to work. He's 51 years old. Probably Fallout 5 will be his last game, you know, and he'll probably end up being like 60 years old, and I mean, here's the thing. Dude, here's the thing. Steven Spielberg is still making movies, and he's like 80.
Yeah, but that bro's always been throwing out the bangers, dude.
I know. And obviously, you know, working on games is very taxing, and there's so much more crunch than making movies, even though not to say that they don't crunch in the movie industry, because they absolutely do. But it's just gonna be wild that we're gonna have creatives in the game industry still making games at that age, you know, because it's like only Japanese ones, and they've all since retired and gone into, like, Miyamoto doesn't really work on games anymore, you know, it's all the younger people now. So it's gonna be weird just seeing like Todd Howard just go on stage.
Dude, when he's announcing fall, hey guys, all over here. He's gonna have white hair.
Yo, I don't know. It's gonna be funny.
Working on a game for my granddaughter.
Straight up, like, and
she's old enough to play it now. And
it'll get to the point where it's just like, I had my son when I made this game, and now he's working with me at Bethesda. I'd be like, Jesus Christ. I'd be like, Jesus Christ, yo, this just gaming. All right, let's see. So people asking Obi-Wan stuff. We're gonna talk about that next week. If you had a lightsaber, what color would it be?
Red.
I would definitely pick.
I almost built one at Disneyland, and I already knew what I wanted. Like, it was already in my head.
I feel it. Honestly, I wouldn't mind purple. Samuel Jackson, obviously, you know, but purple. Because honestly, I'm matching my lightsaber to my outfit, you know, whether I'm a Sith or a Jedi.
Okay, outfit. Yeah.
You know, red obviously can go with a lot more things. I was thinking, I don't know, man. Well, maybe now because it's normalized, but if they didn't do Cal or Rey, I would have picked an orange lightsaber because we haven't seen that, you know.
I went with the Cal saber because I couldn't. I literally fought myself. I was like, build a saber or
right.
Sorry, I just opened up Twitter. Kid Smooth had it again.
Oh, I gotta go see that. Gabe's obviously red. He's a blood now. Oh shit.
Oh my god. No, I just like the color red.
Dude,
I am. Dude, yeah, with a nerdy shirt like that. No, dude, like
there's a lot of bro. You got a lot of red. You got a lot of red on you today. A lot of red on you. It's true. So I can see that.
Kid Smooth said Square Enix is garbage and Final Fantasy is hot ass.
Yo, Smooth. He went from being depressed about Xbox to now back on his Xbox. Shout out to Kid Smooth though. I've never seen anybody beef with fast food chains like Kid Smooth. The whole Domino's era, and I think he fought KFC as well. Like, yo,
he did fight KFC, and there was another one too. I don't remember what it was, but
dude,
that boy Gabe throwing signs. The only signs I know is Naruto signs.
Yo. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna answer one more question before we wrap it up for the night. What can Xbox do to catch up? It's honestly not even a close comparison. Honestly, Fender, I don't think they can do anything to catch up because right now Xbox is in this period of time where all they can do is wait. The games just need to be developed, and that's the unfortunate reality. It's one of those things that we always wish that they had been more proactive than they were, because literally what it feels like now is they're a video game publisher Kickstarter. You know, it's like we gave them the money and now we're just waiting for them to make the thing. And I mean, the Game Pass drops are nice. Day and date stuff is cool, but that's again icing. You know, people want the big games, and those games are bare minimum another year and change out. What about you, Gabe?
Kind of same. I'm same boat. I'm actually kind of curious how the sales are going to be like when Starfield hits. I'm curious at how many people who are, Sony players are going to cave to join in on that. And I wonder like what the gap's going to be then, and then as more titles roll out. But I don't know, man. I just always feel like they're just behind, and they're always just going to be behind. It just seems like such a far and wide race that seems to always have false promises. That's the word I'll go with. False promises. There's a lot of hope, but I mean, I like to use this term a lot, man. But you can shit in one hand and wish in the other, and see which one fills up faster. And I feel like a lot of things we have for Xbox has just been like a lot of wishes, just a lot of wishes and hopes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't. I feel like, as a Chris, you always like to say it, that the proof is in the games. Is a word you use a lot. You let the games do the talking. That's another word you like to use a lot. I feel like that if the games are speaking a language that a lot of us are, connecting to, and we're able to speak back to, I feel like the gap might get smaller. But right now, it just seems like it's an impossible thing, just because what is there really to play? I mean, we know there's things coming to play. We know they're out there, but there's nothing to really grasp onto yet. Whereas PS5, PlayStation, if you purchase that, there's things for you to grab a hold of right now. You can physically go get stuff right now. I can go to the store and grab a copy of Returnal. I can go to the store and grab a copy of Demon Souls. I can go to the store and grab a copy of Spider-Man. I cannot go to the store and grab a copy of Avowed, Fable, etc, etc. That list is really fucking huge, compared to, Xbox has a ton. And I will say this: Xbox has a lot of game announcements
Yeah.
compared to Sony,
Yeah, they have a
but
lot more announcements.
there's nothing to play though.
Yeah, and everything comes back to playing games. So yeah, I think what it boils down to is this Game Pass gamble. It it boils down to
Yeah,
if this stuff hits, which on paper everything looks good. You have all these studios making games. Theoretically, this will make the Xbox
theoretically.
platform the best value in all of gaming's
We're
just based
talking to
off
monopoly
of
money.
yeah, exactly. So based off of how much stuff they're going to put out. Now, whether or not all those games are quality, it remains to be seen because the proof is in the pudding. I care about games. All that other stuff comes later. But yeah, it's just Xbox this whole generation has just been waiting. It's similar to what happened in the Xbox One generation. Half of the
Yeah.
generation was fixing up the mistakes, the other half was building, but
Mhm.
you just wish that the building portion that happened in the latter part of last generation, you saw more of the fruits now. But I mean, we've been saying this for so many years now. It's just you gotta like once we start getting Avowed, Redfall, Starfield, Hellblade, when we get like a consistent string of like 5 bangers in a row, that's when we can revisit this and be like, all right, shit's looking up. And then once the Activision Blizzard deal closes, all the games that they have
That's
in
huge.
development,
Yes.
that'll be day one on Game Pass, and then that's crazy. So it's
Yeah.
just
If
it's
if
time.
D4 is day one on Game Pass, that's fucking huge. Especially that D4 is going to be console launching at the same time as PC compared to
Mm,
what D3 did. Um,
mm,
Fender Fender Cube
Cuber,
Fender
yeah.
Cube. Let's call you Fender Cube. Imagine if Sony and Microsoft were both dropping bangers. See, that's what I'm saying about next year though. Because
Mm-hmm.
next year, if the stars align, and all, because like Chris was saying earlier, all the things they're showing us on the showcases, games for next year. Sony has a huge lineup of bangers for next year as well. So next year is has the potential, theoretically, as Chris would also say, to be a just banger, 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 banger. But again, is it actually going to happen? Because right now, it's like that commercial with the guy with the fishing pole and the dollar bill. Oh, you're gonna get it. Oh, you almost got it. Like that's how it's been with Xbox right now. Oh, you almost got it.
Yeah.
Like we're in June, dude. If if everything went right with Starfield, we would be playing Starfield in in 5 months from now. That's crazy to think about.
We would have been
It's
playing
crazy.
Redfall this summer. Yeah.
We've been, we would. It's just like there's all these. It's so close, and it just keeps the goalpost is moving. It keeps moving, and so and with that being said, that's moving. So is the idea of it catching up. It's also moving. So it's like we're never gonna know until everything starts to flatline, and then that's when it's gonna start actually getting juicy.
Yeah, straight up. All right, and that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up the resurgence, the rebirth of the Sweaty Cast. Gabe, it is just so fantastic to be back doing this with you.
Great.
It's so fantastic to be here with everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who pulled up to the chat, leaving comments, leaving super chats, leaving likes. Most of y'all have been here since the beginning of the chat, which is amazing. We will be back next Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk about whatever the heck happened in the industry. And if nothing happened in the industry, it is going to be a full-on spoiler discussion for Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're going to do a complete series recap, and we got a lot of stuff to discuss because we got a lot of thoughts. We got a lot of thoughts on Kenobi.
Hey, I'm gonna hold you to that. Oh, yeah. JD is gonna hold us.
Listen, provided nothing crazy happens on either's end, we'll be back next Thursday. And if not, if we got to move it up a day, we can probably do that, but we gonna make it work before next weekend. But yeah, you guys, if you enjoyed the Sweaty Cast live stream, whether you're watching it live or you're listening to it on the playback, make sure y'all hit a like. It helps out the channel tremendously. It sends this out there into the ether to bring more people into this sweaty nation of ours. Gabe, my friend, where can all of these lovely people follow you? Where can they stalk you? Where can they smell your sweat? Where, Gabe? Let them know.
So if you want to smell the cheeks, get a taste of the feet, everything, you go ahead and follow me on Twitter at ShutUpGabe with 2 E's, as you see on the screen. I do have a link on my profile, a direct .me link that basically gives you a nice hot list of everything else. Yes, Gabe on Grindr.
Gabe on Grindr. Gabe on OnlyFans.
Shut Up Gabe on Grindr has a whole new meaning on Grindr. Let me tell you.
Oh, Jesus. Gabe's OnlyFans went. Listen, I mean, that could be there's a lot of things. Sweaty Cast coming back. Gabe, he might just do that. If y'all are really fucking with the support like that, then definitely support the boy Gabe.
Because I haven't cut my toenails yet, so this shit is ripe right now.
Oh my god. And we going down a whole different path. We're about to be in a straight up uncut after show. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll have an unrated version of Sweaty Cast where we just go off the rails
after the sweat.
After the sweat, we'll come up with something marketable. We'll have that straight up. People be paying for that shit, man. People will pay after the sweat, after the sweat post show, the post sweat clarity. That could be the name of the post show where we're just fuck, what do we do? Yo, but yeah, you guys know where to find me. Twitter.com/NeoGameSpark. Give your boy a follow for all of my hot takes, my cold takes, my lukewarm takes, or in the case of Gabe, in the case of Gabe, stop the slander. Exactly. Because according to Gabe, every time he opens up his app, he's like, "Why does this man hate Star Wars? Why?" But yeah, if this continues and it's very successful, you guys, we have a lot of stuff planned that we'd love to do with you guys as the community game nights, maybe community movie watching sessions on Discord. I know Morbius has been a very hot topic, so we'll see if the stars align and schedules permit. We can go ahead and we can actually watch Morbius, sponsored by Pizza Hut, because nobody out pizzas the Hut. And Little Caesar stands. We don't acknowledge y'all. And that's signing off from me. $5
and it's delicious.
It's signing off from
frozen
me,
pizza. It's $5.99 as an average, and you gotta cook it with the electricity. It is delicious. It is the best $5 you will ever spend. You want to pay $10 for your sugar sweet tomato sauce pizza slut? We don't do that here.
So you're implying that they don't even use tomato sauce on Little Caesars. So they use something they call you red paste. That's what they
They
use,
use
bro.
marinara sauce. That's what the men taste.
They use ketchup. That's what you
Sweet
eating on that
taste.
pizza. You eating fucking ketchup.
You put ketchup on your pizza.
No, I do not put ketchup on pizza because we got the good sauce. We got the nice sauce on there.
Yeah, might as well. What Pizza Hut might be ketchup.
Yeah, man. Anything better than little? I'll just put it in perspective.
Your
They opened up a
$10
Little Caesars in my city. That shit was closed down within a year.
We're in New York. That's not a fair comparison.
We got listen. We
if
have
I'm
all
in
the
New
New York pizza spots and Domino's and Pizza Hut and
tell you
Papa
right
John's.
now,
What are
if
you
I'm
talking
in
about?
New York, when I was in Chicago, if I was in New York, if I'm in any place where it's pizza fucking central,
Yeah.
I'm not getting fucking Pizza Hut or Domino's.
I don't. I get local pizza. I get local pizza.
That's like coming here. That's like coming here and be like, God, I've always wanted to visit Arizona. Where's the closest Taco Bell? Get the fuck out of my state.
Hell no.
Get the fuck out of my
state. Pizza from the good spots, but if I'm feeling like I wanna, have a little fun, I might get that Pizza Hut stuffed crust. I might get anything that's better than Little Caesars. Oh, and shout out to Fender Cuber in the chat. Little Caesars is $6 now. So Gabe, what do you got to say about that?
It's still
no, it isn't. No.
It's still cheaper.
Gabe, you're fucking moving the goalposts like Microsoft is moving the fucking goalposts. Stop this.
I'm going to the website right now. How much? Maybe where you're at, it's $6. Maybe Uncle Inflation really screwed you over where you're at. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's still.
Let's get the report and Gore the Movie God. Shout out to you, homie. Damn, good place to join in. Listen, all I'm saying, man, like it didn't have to be like this, but
large rounds. Where are the large rounds at?
Where are the large rounds?
Okay, it is $6 still.
It's
still better.
No.
Go, frozen pizza.
Gabriel, we don't
still
move the
cheaper.
No,
the goalposts never moved.
No. You're moving the fucking goalposts.
The goalposts never left. It's still here. It's
what
still
happens when that shit is $10 an hour? Listen, I ain't trying to listen.
Well, it's $10 an hour. We'll have that discussion, Chris. We're speaking. I'll use your own linguistics against you.
Go ahead.
This is theoretically speaking. If it's $10, we'll have that discussion. But when it's in my face and I'm looking at it and it's $10 and it's physically I gotta pay $10 to pick up the pizza, and Pizza Hut's still $10. We'll have that discussion. Now,
what do you got to say about Domino's with their $5.99 deals? Now it's the same thing. Now, yeah. I mean, what?
I don't hate Domino's. I never said Domino's is trash. I never said Domino's is trash.
But you can get a better pizza for the same price now. What do you think there?
I could theoretically, yes, I could get a pretty good pizza.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
The only difference now is the size.
No, what do you get for $6 at Little Caesars?
You get a large.
Okay.
And
you have that.
Ready.
You have that.
It's ready. I can go in. It's close. I could pull out, get the pizza.
Are we? I don't know if we're still talking about pizza at this point, Gabe.
Let me tell you something, Chris. How much is a delivery charge there for Pizza Hut?
Well, delivery is irrelevant because we both drive.
How much is the delivery?
We both drive.
But let's be honest. Most of the time when we're ordering,
so do you walk to Little Caesars?
No, I don't walk to Little Caesars. What the fuck? I don't walk to
delivery. Is still gonna cost something then if you're getting.
If I lived across the street from Little Caesars, fuck yeah. I used to live across the street from a pizza place. I'd walk there and pick it up all the time.
So why you gotta talk about delivery charges then? What the fuck's going on?
Most of the time when so the appeal for Little Caesars is going and picking it up, right?
Okay, because it's hot and ready.
Most of the time, because it's hot and ready. But most of the time when we ordering pizza, we looking at the delivery charges. Every time I've ordered,
why can't you pick it up?
It's farther out. I'm not spending the gas for it. Especially gas prices now. When I get on my fucking horse and pick up a pizza, no.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm not. It's $5 for a delivery charge now. It's $5 for delivery charge. And plus the tip. I gotta fucking tip the guy for leaving the pizza on my doormat because it's contact free pizza delivery.
Yes, sir.
So I'm also playing the guessing fucking game on when the pizza's gonna be here. It says Jerry might be outside, but I live in an apartment complex, so might be outside means he might be on the other side of the fucking complex. So by the time I get the goddamn pizza, it's already fucking cold. I gotta reheat the goddamn thing anyways. Jesus. So if we're breaking it down on the category scale, Little Caesars is the better deal. If I want a pizza, if I want a pizza, and
Have you had Domino's pan pizza before?
I have had Domino's pan pizza. It's pretty good.
So you wouldn't spend the extra like $2 to get a pan pizza and it'd be amazing?
No, I would not. No, I would just buy another. I would just buy 2 Little Caesar pizzas at that point.
Oh my lord. Oh my god.
I would just buy 2 Little Caesar pizzas.
This man would literally just buy like it's not even. They legally cannot. No. Little Caesars. They legally cannot call it cheese. They legally cannot call it cheese. I get 2 of them.
You want to talk about not legally call cheese? Well, they cannot legally call Taco Bell meat because they ain't fucking meat.
Well, we ain't talking about Taco Bell. We're talking about Little Caesars.
This man over here culturally appropriating pizza by attacking Little C, but he over here standing the Taco Bell.
Yo,
like
listen.
It's the best thing since sliced bread.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying those quesadillas go. No, I'm just saying. Listen. I'll say this much. Which one had a national outrage when they took stuff off the menu? Taco Bell or Little Caesars? Exactly. Case point. Game, set, and match. Game, set, and match.
Which one changed what people loved?
Taco Bell. And there was a national outcry.
And Little Caesars didn't change a damn thing because they love the people that come in. They added on to the menu.
Nah, you know what? They raised the price. They raised the price on y'all.
By 99 cents. It's still cheaper
man.
than frozen pizza.
I don't know, man. I don't know, Gabe. You're looking a little shaky and you're tiptoeing right now, bro.
I'm not shaking. I'm passionate, Chris. I'm passionate about my little. I tweeted about one time about Little Sweet C to you, and then I got a follow by a Little Caesars account, pizza account.
Because y'all stands are everywhere.
The one, Little Caesars defender, fight for hot and ready. That's the best. Whoever made that.
That's Gabe's. That's Gabe's burner account. Everybody, that's Gabe's burner account.
It's not me. It's not my burner account.
It actually isn't because that account has been around for a while. That's the crazy part about it.
I got a follower from that account.
Lunchables pizza.
No, get the fuck out of here.
Okay, now you are going too far with that. That's. Bro, growing up, I don't know, man. I always thought Lunchables
pizza microwaved hits different. Get out of here. Yo, get this man out. Get him out.
Bro, Lunchables pizza. I don't know.
Little Caesars doesn't have Mexican pizza. If you want a good Mexican pizza, don't go to fucking Taco Bell.
Hey, that Mexican pizza.
I will take you to 7 plate. You know what?
You gonna pay for the plane tickets, Gabe?
Yeah. You know what sets me, Dom? You're Puerto Rican and you are standing for Taco Bell Mexican.
Race war.
And I'm disappointed. Like, Chris, if you ever come out here, and you tell me you want Taco Bell,
no, I would never do that, bro. When I went down to Texas, and I had Tex-Mex and shit, and we got all the authentic food, authentic barbecue. It's amazing. But all I'm saying is, if we were stuck with the choices, Domino's or Little Caesars, we're getting Domino's.
Oh, bro, I can get a bigger pizza for the same price.
Don said, yeah, because I ain't Mexican. Look at Gabe just confusing people's freaking ethnicity.
It's all Hispanic food. Get out of here.
He's just wow, Gabe, you're just rolling everything up as one thing. So you just take away his whole culture, his identity.
I'm Puerto Rican too. What are you talking about?
No, but you're just saying like he should like Mexican stuff. And now we're gonna have Mexicans in the chat. And they're gonna be like, hey, I don't agree with this Gabe guy. I have my own culture. Damn, Gabe, you might get yourself bro, this is our comeback episode and you might get yourself canceled. If you are listening on the video on demand, what do you think about Gabe saying that? Let it be known in the comment section. Little Caesars had a Batman pizza. For what reason? I don't fucking know.
And it was fucking delicious. It came with a poster and it was good. They put like this cheese sauce in the middle of the wings. God, it was good.
Oh, he said to go eat Papa John's. Oh,
Papa was dropping the hard R. I ain't doing that.
Yo, he was dropping the hard. Remember, he said he ate was it like pizza for 40 days or something? I was like, yo, he looked like it.
I had a slice of pizza every day for 40 days. I'm a pizza connoisseur. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
I can't even bro. I have a pizza every 2 weeks.
Dude, the fucking oil for the pizza was on his face. Like he was dripping. He was so sweaty in that interview too.
Yo,
he was
right?
so goddamn sweaty. You could have. He looked like a slice of Domino's pizza.
Straight up, man. Now I am hungry for some pizza. This is insane. I might order some pizza. I don't know.
The pizza sweat.
Yeah,
Invite me to the next sweaty cast.
Yo, straight. Well, I don't know, man. We might get some pushback for that one. Like, hey, wait a minute, what is going on here? But I mean, he fit the bill in another life.
He would fit the bill.
He would fit the bill in another life. But yeah, you guys. Wow, we went off the rails for like the past 15 minutes. That's fucking crazy. Not gonna lie, Little Caesars.
Passion.
Yeah, it's about drive, it's about power. Not gonna lie, Little Caesars was good when I was a broke college student, pizza of scholars. I mean, listen, I get it, of course. Like Little Caesars, ramen noodles, all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. But why are people still eating it? That's all I want to know. We'll get to the bottom of that question next week when I go ahead and I look at the comment section. But yes, signing off for the rebirth, the resurgence episode of the Sweaty Cast. My name is NeoGameSpark. Shut up, Gabe. As you guys know, we will catch y'all on the next stream. See y'all next Thursday, and we out, y'all. Peace.
Good night.